And a very good afternoon, everyone, from Kardinia Park in Geelong. It's a sellout crowd. The gates have been shut here at the Cattery for the match of the day. In the eyes of many anyway, Geelong and Richmond, a most important game for both sides. Good afternoon to Kevin Bartlett.
Good afternoon, Peter, and it's good to see Tony Free, the Richmond skipper, back in action after 12 months on the sidelines.
And Ross Glendinning. Roscoe, glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Yeah, it is, Kev, I agree with you. He's a terrific leader and also a magnificent player, I think. With the bad luck he's had, he deserves to have an injury-free run for the rest of his career.
Yes, let's hope he can get through the game. That's the most important thing, I guess, apart from taking home the 4 points from a Richmond point of view. And here come Geelong. Of course, the Cats still without Gary Ablett, but Billy Brownless back into the side, of course. He played last week, and he is their prime target up forward. Hasn't been a happy hunting ground, Kardinia Park, for the Richmond side. Geelong has won the last 9 matches, and the Tigers have won just one of their last 17 contests against the Cats. And last year, Geelong beat Richmond twice by huge margins, 89 points in the first preliminary final, and also by 72 points. And the last time that Richmond won here, KB, you'd remember it, was back in 1990.
Yes, the Mother's Day Massacre it was, Peter. We came down here. I think the Tigers were 100 to 1 to win the game. In fact, some people suggest we're a 1,000,000 to 1 chance, and we got up something by about a 3-goal margin, so it was a big day.
Did you come down by train, Kev?
No,
train lag?
On that occasion we actually just all drove down, but when I first started playing, coming to Geelong was a real big deal. And not only did we come down by train on most occasions, there was also one occasion when we actually came down the night before to stay in a motel because of the length of the trip from Melbourne.
It's a long way, isn't it, Kev?
Right, let's take a look at the two sides now, and we'll go over the Tiger lineup.
Yes, and as we mentioned in the lead-up there, good to see Tony Free back in, and also Scott Turner, who was a late withdrawal last week, playing his 101st game, I should say. Richardson also finding some form, and the fellow I think has done very well so far this year is Mark Merenda, and again looking forward to a good game from him. And Ashley Prescott across half-back has been very steady, and I think very much an up-and-coming player.
Now Geelong have made one change in their selected side. Shaun Simpson is out there, number 37. We'll try to pick up the player he has replaced in just a few moments as we go through them.
Yes, and Kilpatrick into the side, having spent time at Essendon and then in South Australia, so he comes in for his first run for the Cats. And I saw Geelong last week in Perth, and at one stage they had Couch, Mansfield and Stoneham on the bench, as well as Hocking at some stage, so I thought their game last week against West Coast, very good, Pete.
I hear you guys worship Aussie rules. Hey! What sort of religion is that?
Unbelievable.
In the days of rationing and clothing coupons, they had to learn to improvise. But with liberation came transformation.
I would never play it safe. How could you? You gotta have fun with it. It's fashion.
You have to be a maniac, and we're all maniacs. So once you succeed, we're all maniacs.
I've got to turn it into a dress.
Don't get me started, girl.
Take the plunge. Revamp your look with Fashion Television. Every Tuesday, 6:30 on Sky News.
Oh, you have to suffer to be beautiful.
Formula One season's on again. Remember those late Sunday nights, eyes propped open, but always missing the finish? Well, things have changed.
Wake up to Formula One Prime Time. Fantastic! The entire Grand Prix series, red lights to checkered flag, at a time to suit you, only on Sports Australia.
Bounce of the ball for the first quarter. Richmond going left of screen before a capacity crowd here at the Cattery. A westerly breeze favouring the end to which Richmond kicking. King knocks the ball down. He wears size number 17 boots, King. He should be able to move in those. This is Gasper for the Tigers. Kick up towards left half forward flank. One-on-one duel out there. The Cats will win this one out. Mark taken by King. Pass came from Scholl. Out to Hocking. Hall calls for him, might go a little bit longer. No, he doesn't. And Hall takes the mark. Had a couple of games for the West Coast Eagles, too far out to score from this pocket. And that might be 50 metres, it will be.
No, it's behind
play.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be about where a 50-metre penalty would be. Dennis Rich indicating there was a push out and interference, and of course that's what the third umpire is for, Kev.
Yes, and he's to catch anything that takes place behind the play, and Aaron Lord has got the free kick.
Well, it'll be a dream start for the Cats if he can put it through. Tries to bend it around. Lack of reaction behind the goals tells us it's only a minor score, so the Cats getting first blood on the board, albeit a minor one, and they lead one behind 1 point.
Seemed a poor attempt to me by Lord because he's plenty of goal space open there. No need really to go for a check side kick. Scotty Turner playing his 101st game today for the Tigers. Late inclusion last week after a knee problem. Kicks out wide. Gaspar was up for the Tigers. We've got a throw in. So the Tigers have won only one of their past 17 encounters against the Cats. Stoneham versus Charles. Pickering has just been sensational since crossing from North Melbourne. Lord once more in the pocket, runs the ball out. Really made his name in that final series against Carlton a couple of years back, Aaron Lord, when they had all their stars out. The Cats, when they had that memorable win over the Blues. Stoneham missed all of last season, and a free kick's been paid. So it's going to Big Charles in the back pocket.
Charles with the free kick. No one standing the mark. Breeze at his back. King late on the scene. Tries to punch the ball clear. It clears the zone. Clears the line. It's out of bounds. In front of the large Richmond gathering out there on the outer side. As I mentioned, the capacity crowd here at Kardinia Park. Gates were shut earlier. King and Charles. Bit of royalty there. Bond. Can't quite gather it in. He's still on the bottom of the pack. Opportunity for Mansfield. Looks for options. Kick comes down towards left half forward flank. Opportunity for Kellaway. Duncan Kellaway running out of room himself. It's out of bounds. So no goals on the board yet early in the first quarter. A sizing up process. Stoneham, Charles, Bond. Long kick by Bond, shot at the back. King gives it off to McGrath. McGrath's kick a poor one, up towards midfield. Chance for Colbert. Riccardi, who's been in brilliant form so far. Not as quick as he might have been. Bond will put Richmond into attack. Breeze at his back, kicks up towards half forward. Richardson, plenty of space, goes at goals, and has kicked the first one for the Tigers. So a costly turnover, Ross Glendinning at midfield.
Yes, but it's unusual for Riccardi, who last week particularly really did use the ball so very well and took the first option. That situation in the middle, he just seemed confused and was waiting for a setup. In the meantime, slowed down. Just see this again, he's looking around, looking wide to give it off. He should have just turned and kicked. Good tackle. Broderick, I think it was. Bond goes forward. Rogers, I'm sorry, was the tackler. And then Richardson was left on his own because McGrath had played the forward movement from the back half, left him on his own. The ball came back over his head.
Rogers has the big task of playing on Riccardi. Bond is on Hocking. Merenda comes out of the centre square for the Tigers. Kicks up towards half forward line looking for Naish. Scholl wins the ball. Runs into Graham, his teammate, but can feed the ball off to Mensch coming down from half back. So Mensch over the top. The hand pass is a poor one. Put McKinnon under all sorts of problems. Good backing up by Scholl. Back to Mensch to Hocking. Second and third in the Brownlow medal. Kicks the ball down the half forward line. Gale, Michael Gale dropped one. Big pack of players just outside 50 for the Cats. Gets the ball across to Colbert. Vice captain at 20 years of age. Ronnie Burns runs into the open goal and kicks it.
He knows where the goals are, doesn't he, the boy from West Perth?
That's what he's there for, Pete, just to get that extra bit of zip in that forward area and kick his 2 or 3 a game. And he's a lively little player. You're right there, he certainly knows where they are. Gale trying to redeem himself here to get the ball clear again after just almost a half-hearted attempt. He wasn't sure what to do in going for that mark. The ball comes out from Colbert. Burns gets as close as he can without going too far.
About 16 steps, I tell you what, he was close to the wire. One goal apiece at Kardinia Park. The Cats by a point. Good goal by Burns on the run. Out of the centre, Hocking looks for options. It's scooped up towards half forward. 2-on-2 duel out there, and the Tigers win out. Ball out towards centre wing, and it's going to be pretty close to the boundary line. Kept in by, it was Daffy. Daffy kicks across his body. The Cats with the numbers. Scholl again. He's been good across half-back so far. Runs into his teammate McGrath. Good tackle. Richardson. Ball out of bounds. Holding the ball. Richardson plays on quickly. Two number 12s figuring in the action. Oh, Charles had it all spent. The rifleman came across. It was Tanner. Now Campbell. Campbell's kick. Not a good one. Up towards half forward. Jurica. Broderick. Looks for a hand pass. Graham was there. Campbell again. Offloaded by Pickering. Charles now a chance. Good tackle by McKinnon. Gale. Onto his left. Centering kick. Clean bowls his brother. Minch. And the Cats through Mansfield should be able to clear. Long looping hand pass. Gets it back to Scholl. As I said, very busy. He kicks to midfield.
And Hocking from behind's the high flyer. Wins it also at ground level. Got wonderful skills on the left boot. Down towards Breuer. His teammate got in the way. Tate. Strong across half-back's been a star for the Tigers this year. Ball towards Michael Gale. Pushed over the line. And umpire Sheehan says we'll have a throw-in. So the Cats by a point, 1-1-7. The Tigers one straight goal. Michael Gale on screen. Two kicks from the Geelong's goal. Charles and Stoneham over the top, taken by Tate. Head straight for the boundary line. And a great player since coming across from South Australia for the Tigers. He was an unsung recruit. His best year last year. Quite outstanding across half-back. Charles, Hall grabs it for the Cats. Broderick kicks it off the ground up towards the wing. Gale and Minch. Big King, huge boy. Size 17 boots. And unfortunately, not one part of that size 17 hit the ball correctly.
Doesn't help you kick straight.
Still ahead. They showed a bit of agility and good ball control initially. The intent was right, just not quite accurate.
So it's Broderick instead of Gasper to take the free kick. He goes in short. Charles chipping it in front of Tanner to take the mark. Umpire Brian Sheehan says play on. He slipped over at the crucial moment. Bond from Colbert. Bond steadies, kicks well inside 50. King gets front position again, knocks the ball clear of Jurica, and it's out of bounds at right half forward for the Tigers, 55 metres from goal. Capacity crowd here at Kardinia Park. Ground looking a picture with the new forward stand, of course, open against St Kilda. One of the top stadiums now in the AFL, Kardinia Park. And as I said, it looks a picture this afternoon. King and Gale do battle. Ball socket off the ground. Minch, you'll have to be quick, son. And he is. Back to Pickering. Scholl. Played over 50 games with North Melbourne in 4 seasons there. That was in the reserves, only a couple of senior appearances. He's made every post a winner at Geelong. From Graham, he gets the hand pass back again. Kicks to midfield, finds Hall. There he is again, Scholl. Almost tried to do too much. Finally back to Hall again on the shoulder. Advantage rule played to Geelong. Mansfield applies a tackle. Ball jarred free. Daffy gives it off. Free. Great to see him back in the Tiger Guernsey in the seniors. Charles kicks long. A boomer down towards half forward. Jurica and Graham. It's a foot race. Jurica's got the speed. Turns, kicks, and has kicked only one behind from Stephen Jurica. He did well there to get a boot to the ball so quickly. That levels the scores with 14 minutes left in the quarter.
I thought Graham was fairly casual with the pressure he put on Jurica in the forward pocket there, enabling him to get that snapshot taken by Tanner, half-back flank, trying to set it up. McGrath lends support. Got the big job on Matthew Richardson, who's already kicked a goal. Kicks for space. They can raffle it. Lucky numbers 21, Mansfield, goes short to Hall. 2 games with the West Coast, starting to find some form with the Cats. That's a beautiful kick, and he finds Colbert just outside 50. Could be run down from behind. Gets the short kick in, and it's been marked by Lord.
He's an important player, Kev Colbert, because he plays tall. He can play ruck rover. He's got that bit of finesse. And in fact, last week at some stage towards the end of the game, in fact, he finished up at full back, so very versatile.
and at 20 years of age, vice captain of the Cats. The nephew of former Richmond great Dale Waitman. So Lord pops it through.
He's kicked 1-1 out of the Cats tally.
Well, they worked that pretty well, Pete. They waited for the set-up. Tanner did, coming across from half-back, and found McGrath. They worked the ball forward through the middle, came to the outer side, then pushed the ball back through into the middle of the ground, all trying to centre it up here. This is Colbert. And Lord just getting in front of Prescott on a couple of occasions.
So back to the centre, 13 minutes left in the quarter. Out of the centre, Richmond. Charles tried to dummy the hand pass. In the end, it didn't come off as well as he would have liked. On the burst now, Daffy, 53 metres from goal, goes long. Jurica, great grab. Read that perfectly. Graham caught just a little bit out of position. Graham seems to have the height advantage, but it was Jurica who read it better.
Good kick by Daffy, though, Pete, to allow Jurica to go back. Good distance.
So he's at point-blank range and the opportunity for the quickest of possible replies. Only a rookie in terms of games. Virtually point-blank range. Jurica 15 metres out. He kicks and goals. So Stephen Jurica getting the Tigers second, and that levels the scores once again at Kardinia Park.
Yes, that was the quick reply there, and good work. McKinnon just trying to chase it forward, and the bounce just beating McGrath, and Daffy running forward with 3 or 4 teammates. Gets a good kick forward, as I mentioned, to give Jurica a chance.
Stephen Jurica on screen. Well, he made a name for himself when he played on Stephen Silvani in the Tigers' great win over the Blues 12 months ago. Well, not 12 months ago, in 1994, I should say, when he first burst onto the scene. Colbert, good strength to Tanner, quick hands to Riccardi. Rogers has got the job to mine today. 4 goals last week against West Coast. Very important player for the Cats. And there's skipper Tony Free playing his first game. You can see that right knee very heavily strapped. His first game in 12 months. He went down in round 5 of last year. Back today. Great sight for the Tiger fans. 2-1-13 apiece. Charles against Stoneham. Ground level, free, kicks off the ground. Back towards the front edge of the centre square. Up by Campbell, feeds the ball off to Rogers. Out in front, Merenda needs a bounce. Richardson lends support, couldn't take it. Down went McGrath. McKinnon paddles the ball along. The former Crow. Richardson is quick for a big man. Does well, gets his body and keeps it in play. Then does the work at ground level. Tremendous play by Richardson.
Mark Merenda pulled up a bit short.
Richardson with 1 goal already in the game. 17 for the season. The Tigers' leading goal kicker. Charles beaten this time by King. 200 centimetres, young King from the Murray under-18s. He was a compensation pick for the Cats for Stephen O'Reilly when he went across to Fremantle. He's got an enormous future in the game, wearing the #1 jumper for the Cats. And there he is, winning the tap. Callaway kicks around the body towards Richardson. McGrath pushed him under the ball. Campbell in hot pursuit, got a bad bounce. Mensch gets the ball back to McGrath. He's going to transfer the ball back towards Mensch. Puts him under a lot of pressure. Pickering trying to crash his way through. Richardson did well at ground level. Back to Merenda, and the Tigers back into attack. Jurica's the target. Graham from behind, but Jurica! That's the sort of strength he's shown at full forward. Very tough to beat when caught behind.
So they've got in the clinches there, Richard. They forced McGrath to go back, and then coming forward again, realising he couldn't go across ground, got caught up. Good pressure. And you're right, Kev, that strength to go back and hold your ground as well and keep your balance and eye on the footy, then to take the mark as well. It's a good effort. Graham seemed to have the sit from behind, even to punch in the end, but too strong, the big fella.
Oh, a former Western Australian.
Correct.
We've got the coach of the Western Australian state side sitting alongside us today, eyeing off all of these Western Australians.
And that's not me.
No, Ross Glendinning. Ross Glendinning, the new coach of state football in Western Australia.
Yeah, well done, Roscoe.
Thank you, Pete.
Stephen Jurica, 35 metres out. Drop punt. And he's kicked it.
It's a handy foil to have him there because they play tall in the forward area, with Richardson virtually playing on a flank. Jurica in the square, Benny Gale floating through between centre-half forward and full forward. They've got the flankers in Naish and Daffy just to pick up those crumbs. But so far, those driving kicks into the forward area have found Jurica pretty well.
When one out deals Roscoe, he's had the better of Graham twice so far, hasn't he?
Yep.
Actually, it was last year when he had that big game at the MCG. Carlton defeated Richmond, but he took some big, strong marks against Stephen Silvani, and that's very difficult to do.
6 points the difference in favour of the Tigers. Good start here. Broderick to Daffy. Over the head of McKinnon. Long bomb. Richmond going with the breeze this term. Jurica this time from behind. He butters up again. Now a chance for a snapshot. It came from Rogers. McGrath and Richardson. Scholl. And the ball punched over the line for a rush behind to Richmond. And Graham already knows this afternoon that he's got his hands full with Stephen Jurica. It's 3-2 to 2-1. The difference out to 7 points, and we're just past the halfway mark of the first quarter. Full house at Kardinia Park again. Ideal conditions for footy. Wind basically a westerly. Umpire tells him he must kick it in now, which he does. Goes long to the outer side. Lord takes the mark right on the edge of the square. Is he off? Umpire says he was. Broderick. 53 metres out, long shoulders there. He was the one that rushed the behind before, but this time he takes the good defensive mark. Tries to get clear of Naish. Good pressuring. Finally picked up by McGrath, and again on the 50-metre mark, Lord takes the mark.
Scholl's been very good in defence early in this first term. Colbert does well. Could have fed the ball off to McKinnon. Kicks long inside 50. It's a high ball. Hocking's there. Too good that time for Ashley Prescott. And Gary Hocking, 3 times he's finished third in the Brownlow medal. 1 second, enormous record. 3 times club best and fairest, an All-Australian, very highly decorated player. I think that just gave us an example why. Now, can he drill it? No, the kick's not up to the mark. In fact, it's out of bounds on the full.
It's interesting, one of the flags over there is standing out from the mast on that side of the ground. This one on this side, absolutely limp.
Gaspar kicks the ball back where King thumps the ball to the front of the pack, taken by Hocking. Great in the clinches, back to King. The ball floats across the face of goals, free, can't get there. So once more a boundary throw in. Roscoe, young King starting in the ruck, putting Barnes on the interchange bench.
Yes, it's a good thing to have that, given the experience of getting up first. Kevin, he's doing it right around the ground too.
Yes, he seems fairly mobile for a big guy, and big he certainly is. It's Stoneham with Charles. Stoneham gets front position. Gasper fumbles. Bond out the front will go off the ground, which he does effectively. Clears the zone. It's out towards 50. There he is again. King tries to find Hall, couldn't do so. Merenda's got speed. McKinnon's also got speed, but he gets blocked by a good Shepherd. Still he goes, Merenda. Will look for the hand pass. On the run he finds Rogers. Rogers from left centre wing. Good long clearing kick. Almost a mark to Naish. Taken over the line by Scholl. The umpire says not deliberate, and it will be thrown in. And the boundary umpire, some 50 metres behind play. That's how quickly the ball was moved. So a good sprint by one of the men in blue. Throw in 45 metres out from the Richmond goal. He's taking a couple of deep breaths. Gale, just a little bit of a push, and King will get the free kick. Umpire had a good view of that. King decides to go with a hand pass. Scholl. Long bomb towards centre wing. Colbert. Grab, but not hard enough. McGrath. Good duel between he and Richardson this afternoon, potentially. Breuer, one hand, tried to mark, couldn't drag it in. Off the ground, Burns, great soccer skills. Might have almost got it back again if he hadn't slipped over. Umpire says a holding decision going Richmond's way, and Tony Free will take the free kick.
Freezer from the half-back flank. Just in two minds, kicks the ball long. Backing back is Gale. He's got it. Gives it across the bond. Runs inside 50. Should kick a goal. He's off target. He's hit the post. You could see it wasn't coming back in flight.
He certainly improved that side of his game, Kev, hasn't he, Chris Bond? Just 3 last year in total, and so far this year he's kicked 8. Very well have had 9, really.
Kicked 4 in one game against the Brisbane Bears. Ben Graham, arguably the longest kick in the competition.
Yeah, we want to see a big talk.
Well, he's against the breeze. We might see something spectacular in the next turn, but look at this kick. It's still gone 70 metres. Gale up high from Colbert. So Tigers have got 3 against 1. Merenda wins it across the half-forward line. Mensch sets himself in front, but Jurica, too strong.
Finishing that kick from Graham, terrific kick, but he put Colbert out 3 against 1. He had to take the grab from behind, Kevin, found it too hard. Ball hits the deck, and then it's 3 on 1 there. No chance for Colbert to recover, and then the kick coming back in from Merenda to Jurica. He's on the lead. He's showing a bit of everything, the big fella, at the moment.
Well, he's got great hands. He's not super quick, but of course, if he's in front, you see the big bulk there. Very difficult to get around.
How quick do you have to be, Kev? It's only over 10 metres usually, isn't it? I don't think Piggy Dunstall would win a store gift, but on the lead over a short distance, he's very hard to stop.
So Jurica from 35 metres out. He's directly in front. Really got underneath that ball, and he's just got a minor score.
2-2 he's kicked. Stephen Jurica off to a good start in the first quarter, 3-4 to 2-1. Just under 6 minutes remaining in the term. So Graham has got a job on his hands this afternoon. Let's see what he does this time with the kick out. Again, it's a boomer. Big pack of players. Daffy robes it well from the back. McKinnon's there, reads it best. On to Hocking. Hocking decides to go for a run. Breuer does the shepherding. Stoneham his target. Almost. So Barry Stoneham back into the cat side. Missed virtually 2 years of football. And of course Tony Free, as Kevin mentioned, back today. Great to see him out there on the turf. Charles wins it. Burns almost. Brewer's got speed as well. Onto the left. Right foot it was. Snaps it goal. That's a great kick. It's through. The Cats third.
He's a very important player, is Shayne Breuer for the Cats, either through the middle, which he can play, or off a half-forward flank. He is quite dangerous, very strong too for a player of his size. Plays a bit taller. He also has the pace, just the capacity to back himself, getting away from free, and then just got his kick around the corner in time. Good play.
On screen, he's played in 2 losing grand finals with the Cats. Not as bad as Billy Brownless. He's played in 4.
Wouldn't mind him.
A lot of Geelong players have tasted disappointment, particularly in recent years. Richmond lead by 3 points. Charles wins the tap. Kicked off the ground by Pickering. Ricochets back towards Gale, bends down well, gives it off to Campbell. He's got a player short, and Richardson should take the easiest of marks. Plenty of space for Richardson, and from a standing shot, he's pushed it right.
He's got himself in 2 minds there, Kev. Saw the goal square as free, also knew that there was no one on the mark, so he went forward to play on, and then probably could have gone back and just settled a bit further. And maybe pinged it through from a set shot.
Kicked his first goal from similar circumstances when he wasn't quite certain whether to go back and kick it, and on that occasion he played on. It worked out well. This long bomb from Graham. Gale went to ground, thought he got one high. You see him holding his back.
He backed back courageously, Kevin, then just backing into a wall of players, was forced forward.
As mentioned beforehand, the Tigers' last win was here in 1990, and Benny Gale is the only player on the ground for Richmond who played in that winning side.
A couple from Geelong. Billy Brownless was one. Couch was another, but he's not playing today. Burns along the wing. Hall, good grab or a push. You'll get a free kick. Back to Tanner. Hocking, too far out to score. Prescott did well. Rogers, Breuer, Tries to snare it inside the line. Rogers making sure it clears the line in front of Riccardi. The throw-in will take place in the Cats' left forward pocket. 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Richmond with 8 effective scoring shots, leading 3-5 to 3-1. But the difference only 4 points. Well, huge pack of players around the ball. Gasper tried to get clear after the tap down. He couldn't. And the umpire is going to bounce it. Charles the last to get up. Charles against Stoneham. Charles with the run. Line ball again. Picked up by Hall. Kick is high, wide, but not too handsome. It's out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Richmond in the right back pocket. And it will be taken by Campbell. Got Bond on offer. Bond in front of goals. He's seen him. Now he goes to him. Turner. 101st game. Late inclusion last week for his 100th. So the banner today, Rogers for him. Merenda. Gee, that's nearly on the full, is it? No. Out of bounds. Close to centre wing, right next to the interchange gates. So the throw-in to take place. The scoreboard reading in Richmond's favour, 3-5 to 3-1.
Hocking's been a very good player for the Cats in his first term with 7 possessions. Mansfield rockets the ball back to Pickering. There's Hocking again. Been quite outstanding, and his kicking is absolutely superb. So he finds Ben Graham, who's been moved down to the forward line.
Minch has gone to full back.
Yes, and Barry Stone into centre half back.
Now with his kicking prowess, he just about get the distance here. Ben Graham, this is a big bomb, just starting to land left to the goal square. The high flyer was Billy Brownless at ground level, picked up by Callaway. Gets it across to Daffy. It's a poor kick, but Hocking. And the high flyer once more at the top was Billy Brownless. I thought he may have given away the free kick, but he hasn't. And Scotty Turner must be wondering what's going on. Scott Bond wide, who's also been quite outstanding for the Tigers in this opening term. This is also his 8th possession.
Bond from left half back. Richardson his target. He was taken out of the contest. Benny Gale caught one high, and he'll take the free kick. Onto Merenda, who's been busy. Richmond make a change. Tawney comes on. Kick down towards full forward. Minch punches from behind, doesn't clear the zone. McGrath tries to do that. Ball hits the deck again. Colbert off the ground, waiting for the good bounce. Finally has to pick it up right off the turf. McKinnon. Mansfield from half-back. Over the head of Naish. They're messing around. Graham. Gale caught one. Umpire lets it go again. Now Broderick. Broderick from left half forward, the former Lion, inboard with the hand pass. Naish loves a goal. Now the opportunity for him. He kicks, and he has missed. So the Cats off the hook. Chris Naish recording only one behind. Very dangerous inside 30 metres. Couldn't quite nail that one. The difference back to 4 points. 3-6 to 3-2. Just under 2 minutes left in the quarter.
McKinnon's off and Simpson on.
Simpson a late inclusion for Paul Cats this afternoon. Scholl goes short. Whether the breeze is a 4-goal breeze or anything like that, but it's certainly favouring this end. This is Tanner. Tanner in the back pocket. McGrath calls for it. He decides to go long.
So it's a big pack of players. Hocking once more in the clinches. The ball is over the line for a boundary throw-in. Geelong's handball out of defence has been pretty ordinary. Not too many have reached their targets. Put a lot of players under pressure. Richmond has got goals on the rebound. King, youngster, started the game with Barnes on the bench. He's already had 7 possessions, young Stephen King. High flyer was Breuer. Brings the ball to the front of the ground pack. And we've got a boundary throw in.
Change to be made to by Robert Walls. Brendan Gale off. And coming on for his first run is Ben Harrison.
Gale copped a pretty nasty knock in the back when he backed only a few moments ago. They're a pretty big pack. Daffy back towards 50. Richardson at ground level. Whether it's in the air at ground level, he's a magnificent player. This is a long bomb. He's kept his second.
2 goals, 1 to Matthew Richardson. And that one also a long way out. Found the mark.
Good chill between he and McGrath. And Richardson obviously with the height advantage, just limping a bit too. I'm not sure what he's caught, whether he's got the kick in the calf, but this is great athleticism. Just here, McGrath nearly taking the mark, but then Richmond pulling the ball back and then playing on, and on his left boot. It's a great kick.
So 2 Tigers have scored 2 goals. Matthew Richardson 2-1, and Stephen Jurica has kicked 2 goals too. Richmond leading by 10 points, close to the end of the first quarter, under 1 minute remaining. The Tigers with the breeze though in this term. Colbert, a fumble, won't let Richmond in, and that will be a free kick to Simpson. A late inclusion for Paul Couch. Sean Simpson from the side of the square. Hall overran it. Graham, that's too high. That'll be a free kick to Mansfield.
And Richardson is going to come off and Gale to come back on.
Let's hope he's okay, and we hope it's not the knee. Turner punches from behind. Brownless has been kickless so far. Tawney. Callaway onto Turner. Game number 101 for Scotty Turner. He's gone out wide. Burns and Prescott lead the charge. It's out of bounds in front of Campbell, who looked at the boundary umpire perhaps more in hope than anything else that may have gone out on the full, but it's going to be a throw-in front of a packed outer stand, or outer. The terrace is absolutely chock-a-block this afternoon. So it's going to be King with Charles. King looks for the front position. Charles gets it. Burns looks for the free kick and should get it, you would think. Prescott to Daffy.
It's interesting, Pete. Now, the central umpire, McBurney, said no, but then Brian Shayne, who was in the forward 50, did give the free kick to Burns, but the siren's gone.
Well, he'd have to be Graham plus to kick this, but you might as well take the kick. It's yours. We won't lose anything. Everything to gain, nothing to lose. Well, he's gone short.
I don't think he understood that the siren had gone.
Maybe he didn't hear it. Reminds me once of an incident over in Western Australia a few years back, Roscoe, when a player had a kick after the siren and played on, and it was the ball game. I can't remember who it was. It was not in the... it might have been in the waffle, I think.
I'll get back to you on that one.
We're not putting you on the spot. The spot is here at Kardinia Park. It's Richmond leading 4-6-30, Geelong 3-2-20, and what has been a pretty interesting quarter of football. That's it. We start the second quarter at Kardinia Park with Richmond leading by 10 points, 4-6-3-2, but it's going to be the catch with the wind in this quarter. Brownless kickless in the first term. So you'd like to get one on the board quickly. Tanner across to King. A long bomb by the rookie down towards Hall, who couldn't take the mark. Turner goes in pretty solidly. Loose ball for Burns, who slips over at the crucial moment. Good tackle by Breuer. Toe poke by Tanner. And pass by Hocking. Gets it back again to Tanner, the rifleman. Pickering from outside 50. And Turner leading Brownless. This is for the comfort zone of the boundary, which he finds without too many problems. It will be a boundary throw in 60 metres from the Geelong goal. So Graham in the ruck. Jurica led him a merry dance in the first term. Jurica kicking 2 goals too. Took some very strong marks. And Minch has the job currently in the key defence post for Geelong on Stephen Jurica. Charles wins it. Pickering. Gasper. Bond. Goes for the boundary line again. And/or Duncan Callaway. Didn't find either, but it is out of bounds. About 70 metres now out from goal.
Interesting stats with no possessions to Brownless in the first term. No possessions also to Barry Stoneham. So the 2 big guns of the Cats yet to fire. As we see the Tigers defence bottling it up on the half-back line. It's good to see Matthew Richardson back on the ground, left just before the quarter-time siren after booting 2 goals.
Had his right calf strapped too, Kev, so that was the problem.
So Graham in the ruck against Charles. Colbert trying to crash his way through. And we've got another boundary throw-in. Colbert there, the nephew of Dale Waitman, the former Tiger captain. 20 years of age, vice captain of the Cats. It's a big rap. Tate Kicks the ball off the ground, taken by Campbell. Best and fairest winner for the Tigers last year, Merenda, who's been in great form, but this time has been outpointed by Simpson. Gives it across to Hocking, who's been the star of the game. Kicks out towards Ronnie Burns. He's already kicked a goal. He's off. He's caught, slips the tackle, balks, feigns the hand pass, then goes very, very short to Colbert.
He did well there, didn't he?
His ball handling's clever and his evasive skills remind me of Phil Cracker.
So Colbert is kicking from 60 metres out. He goes across, he's got the lead, and it's a great mark to young Stephen King, who showed a bit of maturity then coming down, making himself an option inside 50.
Yes, did the smart thing. He really is finding his feet. Which
size
is
17.
Size 7. That shouldn't be too hard to find, should they?
No.
But he's getting around the park all right. He's just really getting the feel of this game. He did the right thing by drifting into that space.
Well, he's not 18 till November. I mean, he's a wonderful talent that kicks a ball, and Billy Brownless is marked on his chest.
Good pass. Ashley Prescott's been relieved of duties. He's come off and Breuer is on for his first run. Now Billy, this will be his first kick.
Well, he should score a goal. He's only 10 metres out, plenty of goal space. And he's popped it through.
When they wanted to start the second quarter, Geelong, Brownless, as Kev mentioned, kickless in the first quarter, as Barry Stoneham, and the difference now back to 4 points. 30 plays, 26 in favour of the Tigers.
Yes, and an important player in that setup again was Gary Hocking. He really is doing very, very well, and Bond had him for the first quarter, then came off a bit of a breather, and Tawney took up the reins there. Bond's back on again, but they have to really keep a good eye on Hocking, so creative.
10-3, Gary Hocking. Bond for Richmond, 7-2. Leading possession gatherers for their side. Back to the centre after Brownless's first goal. Won by Charles. Hocking again. We'll put that down as a hand pass, although it was largely ineffective. Good tackle by Broderick. Charles, Bond, Gale. Gale inside 50 against the breeze, goes long. He's slightly off target, and Benny Gale was registered only one behind. He was also taken off the ground late in the first quarter, got a knock, as Kev mentioned, and that's his first score of the afternoon. 4-7 to 4-2. The difference out to 5 points now at Kardinia Park. Shayne kicks in, not a huge distance, a little bit of interference there. Which way is it going? The advantage rule, it's Geelong's kick. McGrath, who's got the job on Richardson so far, kicks down towards half forward. Good mark to Riccardi in front. Was in great form last week. Feigned going long, then goes short. And the mark is taken by Lee Colbert.
He's still got McGrath clear on his right. He's telling him to move inside 50 further.
Which he does. Not that way. Gives Richmond the chance to clear, but it comes back to Riccardi from a standing start. Oh, he should have drilled that one. And only one behind. Kicked by Peter Riccardi. So the difference now to 4 points, 4-3 to 4-7.
Wasted opportunities that time by the Cats, Roscoe.
Yeah, I thought so too, Kev, yep.
Turner kicks long. Looking for Callaway. Hall using his weight. Boundary throwing. Just looking at young Stephen King. Still turned 18 years of age. His first game today. 6 kicks, 3 marks and 4 handballs. And we're just in the first 10 minutes of the second quarter. So I think we might be looking at a wonderful talent who's just bursting onto the league ranks. So Gaspar will bring this ball back for the Tigers. 4-3-27 Geelong. Trailing the Tigers 4-7-31. Gaspar, recruited from the Swans, the former national #1 draft pick. Kicks down. Taken by Colbert to Hocking. Great in the clinches once more. Not taken that time by Graham. In fact, we'll make that Pickering. So the ball bottled up on the outer side of the ground. Charles versus Graham. Bond gets it across to Broderick. Quick kick out of the pack. It's all Geelong across half-back, and this youngster Stephen King's taken his 4th mark.
Could have almost got 50 metres then. The umpire let it go. Colbert, Broderick, Merenda. Merenda's got speed. He's also pretty tough. And Scotty Doreen found out last week. Perfect football. A perfect pass to Richardson. He still looks a little proppy.
Yes, and again, Richardson finding himself free once more with McGrath going forward and leaving him alone. There's McGrath just behind Merenda. The kick comes over the top there. Good play by Broderick down the midfield to get the ball down to Merenda.
Well, he kicked a couple of nice goals with the breeze in the first quarter. Now against it. Distance shouldn't be a problem. It's not. Neither is accuracy. Richardson kicks his 3rd. He's kicked 3 goals, 1. And Richmond increases its lead. 5-7-37 to the Tigers. The Cats 4-3-27 early in the second quarter.
I think he's probably the tallest half-forward flanker ever to play league football, Matthew Richardson. But it's a good ploy by Robert Walls because he has that athleticism to get around the park and he can go back into the space rather than being already there. And the workload just slightly reduced from that flank, but he's certainly hobbling. No question. So how long that can last when they can risk further injury.
I think McGrath might have to be a little bit more negative on Richardson. There are times when you want to be attacking off the half-back line, but Richardson is such a potent player for the Tigers that you've got to really weigh up your options.
Yeah, now with 3 goals, Kev, I'd agree with you. He's got to just sacrifice his own game and just stick with him.
Hocking takes it out of the air, gets the ball across to Simpson, to Pickering. He breaks wide, he's got Mansfield, he needs a kind bounce. Wins it in front of Tate, then shows him the ball, comes back onto the left boot. That's wonderful play by Mansfield and finds Hall.
It's great play by Mansfield. He has got fantastic pace and the poise there to know to come back onto his left foot to centre the ball.
Barnes warming up and Graham will come off.
Hocking has been a marvellous player. He's had 15 possessions. Halfway through this second term, Hall gets underneath the ball. He's missed.
One behind to Derek Hall. 5-7 to 4-4. Gary Ablett, of course, still on the sidelines through suspension. They'd love him there this afternoon. Hall again tried to barge his way through. Gasper and Pickering. Bond with Burns. Both with plenty of toe, but the ball this time beats both of them over the line for a throw-in on centre wing. 13 minutes left in the half. Chris Bond, who's made many visits to the tribunal, on the wrong end. Lord. Barnes, first touch for the day. Colbert, clever knock on. Centering kick out to Billy. He marks right on 50.
Yeah, it came from Pickering, Peter. It was a good centering kick. It's just starting to get the better of Campbell, I think, in that duel.
Well, he's had 9 possessions so far, Pickering.
This is Billy's second. With his first, he kicked a goal from close in. That's a mammoth kick from Billy, and he has kicked it. 2 goals to Brownless in the second quarter, and the Cats hit back again. He's now their leading goal kicker in this match. 5-7 to 5-4, the difference 3 points.
This is a setup here from Pickering. Just did the right thing, looked forward, used the ball well. And Brownless, who started with a couple of goals in the first quarter last week, was tidied up very well after that by McIntosh. Slow to start today, but just getting himself into the game now at an important time too.
Certainly is a very important duel, Pickering versus Campbell. 9 possessions to Pickering, 5 to Campbell. Taken by Charles. Quick kick back to where Richardson falls over. Stoneham feeds the ball off, intercepted by Gale, then gets it again. Back to Big King. So Pickering goes wide. Lord has got a chance back to Mansfield, can go over the top of Callaway. The Breuer. He's already booted a goal inside 50. Another wasted opportunity by the Cats.
1-1 to Shayne Breuer.
Tigers by 2 points. Just over 11 minutes of action to remain in the second term. Turner. And Bond, the smallest in the pack, takes the mark. It's one of the best and fairest since coming across from Carlton. Stoneham in front.
Being held according to Brian Sheehan.
So Stoneham with the free kick.
Barry Stoneham getting into the action like Billy Brownless in the second quarter. Barnes caught out of position and the mark taken by its Bauer. His first touch of the day, started on the bench. Bauer from left half-back flank. In front Mansfield, almost came down with it. King paddles it out, not really to the advantage of a teammate. Campbell's there. Gives it to Merenda, the racehorse, outside 50, a mongrel punt off the boot. Scholl might be able to do the tidying up work. He'll rush it through for a behind in front of Naish. He did that once in the first quarter for a rush behind. So Richmond increases its lead by that margin, 5-8 to 5-5, almost at the halfway mark of the term. Scholl, as I said, 4 seasons at North Melbourne, played only 2 senior games, but 64 in the reserves. Lynch loses it. Gale. Merenda, who's been busy. Ooh, Daffy, courageous attempt to mark. Campbell, a snap. Which way's it going to bounce? McGrath backs his judgment, one of those awkward ones, but it goes straight ahead and in fact beats him over the line next to the behind post.
Important bit of play there by Daffy too, but not only for the courage, but to keep the ball in the area there. If he hadn't have gone back, it would have been a Geelong mark and they would have cleared it out.
He won their goal kicking at Richmond last year with 45 goals. Jurica has to beat 3, can't do so. Shoulders there again. Bond comes at him, brings the error. Jurica goes at Tanner, and the rifleman nearly collects the fence, but the umpire's found a free kick. And it's going to Grant Tanner, number 10 for the Cats, in the left back pocket. Tanner short to King, who isn't. And I agree with you, Kev, a pretty fine debut. Very promising. Barnes, the man, started on the bench. Free kick, again from Brian Sheehan going Geelong's way. The recipient this time is Riccardi. Peter Riccardi, left centre wing. The option is short. Barnes over the top was Gasper, couldn't complete the mark. Kick off the ground comes from Campbell. Cats rebound again. Stoneham's kick. Marking contest. Daffy got a fist to it. Charles has to beat Breuer. Brushes another tackle as well. Justin Charles goes short. Perfect footy on the end of it is Rogers.
And Rogers kicks to open space. McGrath running with the fly of the ball. Jurica did well. Kept the ball in front. Naish at ground level. Back to Bond. Hands and knees. Bounced up like the Indian rubber man. Throws the ball onto the boot. It's a wonderful snap in the square. Richardson. Well, he's booted 3. He's the big problem for the Cats, Roscoe.
Yes, no question. That was great play by Bond too. Again, McGrath caught up the ground.
So Matthew Richardson should post his 4th, and he has.
4 goals, 1 to Matthew Richardson.
2 goals in the first quarter, 2 so far in this second term.
Yes, we might see this build up again. Yes, we will. Mitch tries to go off the ground then, but just a good bit of strength by Naish to try and get the ball in. And Bond, who's been reasonably good today, even though Hocking's had plenty of touches. Bond responded for his side. And that's the danger man with that question, Richardson.
And we did mention that McGrath, instead of maybe trying to be a playmaker across half-back, will have to pay a lot more attention to Richardson.
Daffy, it's coming down that territory again. Richardson and McGrath. Richardson, can he kick his 5th? He's kicked 4-1 so far on the burst. He goes at goal, but he's hit the post. Well, he is a real danger man. 4 goals, 2 to Matthew Richardson. Still looks a little proppy on that leg. 6-9 to 5-5, and the difference out to 10 points. Minch. Kick the centre wing. Mansfield, mark or free kick. Take your pick. Funny old kick. It's okay in the end. Colbert. Stoneham. Kicked us in the first quarter. Doing better in the second. Tape knocks the ball to ground. Gaspar, Callaway. Good hand pass. Broderick back to Tape. Now Breuer. Breuer at left half back goes short towards centre wing. He's looking for Charles. Needs to bounce kindly for him. Good hip and shoulder by McGrath. Put him out of business. Holding the ball, they say no. Like tag team wrestling down there. Colbert got up. Went down just as quick.
Yeah, it's free kick against Charles, but
so Lee Colbert at right centre wing to take the free kick for Geelong. Difference is 10 points. 45 to 35. Wins down here for Richmond have been a rarity. The last one here 6 years ago. Tape. Barnes couldn't hold it. Broderick. Quick hand pass. Daffy. Across the body to half forward. Stoner this time. Good strong mark in front of Benny Gale.
Just wonder, Roscoe, whether maybe Stoneham could go onto Richardson and McGrath could go back to Gale, who hasn't got quite the mobility of Richardson or the pace.
yeah, I can make that move, Kev.
Barnes feeds the ball off. McGrath out wide to Minch. It's a poor kick. Tape got one hand to it. Paul can't keep it in. Yes, McGrath likes to run off half-back, and he just might be able to be springboard of attack against, say, Benny Gale, but against Richardson, it's proving disastrous at this stage with 4 goals to Matthew Richardson, 2 to Stephen Jurica. So the tall timbers for the Tigers are there only 2 goal kickers. Riccardi, who's been closely checked by that man Rogers, to Breuer, who can do some magical things on 50. This time the hand pass intercepted by Merenda. Simpson falls over. Gale, Michael Gale back to Burns. To Hocking. Caught. Tiger fans want a free kick, but they're going to get a ball up. Hocking with 15 possessions. It's been picked up by Chris Bond. He's also had 12, so it's been a terrific duel. Colbert wins the tap. Gaspar at ground level, 4th on top of the ball and gets a push as well.
Darren Gaspar. Played 21 games with the Sydney Swans. It's not going to be his kick though. Bond will take it.
What was it? I thought it was against.
So did I.
Gaspar's free kick. They must be waxing.
Charles in front. Punched away by Gale. Barnes was in there as well. Boundary throw. It's going to be the end result of all that. Merenda hands it back to the boundary umpire. Under 6 minutes remaining in the half. Good game of footy so far. Barnes with Charles. Barnes starting on the bench. Gary Ayres preferring King in the clinches, and he hasn't let them down. Hall. Simpson. Out of bounds in front of Sean Simpson. 80 AFL games now. Barnes again with Charles. Barnes gets front position. Charles over the top. Hocking's been brilliant. McKinnon. Ball. Snapshot is off target. And goes through 4-1 behind.
Change being made to Chris Bonner coming off again just for another rest, doing all that work on Hocking, and Tawney the player to go on again to replace him and pick up the duties there.
Back to 9 points the difference at Kardinia Park. Scotty Turner in game number 101, directing traffic from fullback for Richmond and doing it well. Kept Brownless kickless in the first quarter. Billy's got 2 in the second, but the Tigers still lead. Gaspar and Charles, good knock on by the latter. Opens it up for the quicker players. Gale is there, but he can't get it. It's out of bounds. We'll see a throw in on centre wing.
The Cats have actually done well, Roscoe, in keeping, say, Daffy under control and Campbell under control. It's just the 2 big guys up forward.
Yes, I agree with that, Kev.
Tawney, quick kick out of the pack. Taken by Daffy, a long way up the ground. Good mark in the centre square by Pickering. He's had a good second term. And the high fly there was Breuer over Burns. So Brendan Breuer just kicks a high ball, puts Rogers under a lot of pressure. He did well. He's really taken Riccardi out of the game. Riccardi was the star last week with 4 goals. Rogers been his minder, but the kick is a poor one.
And Broderick's been taken off, Kev, Paul Broderick, and he's been replaced by Ashley Prescott.
So Stoneham, Benny Gale on the mark. Kicks the ball back towards centre half forward where we see Big Charles goes up. Missed all of 1994 in America playing baseball. Good pick up by the Tigers in 95, and this year taken over the mantle as the #1 ruckman, Barnes. Spent the first quarter on the interchange bench. Now the umpire's bringing Gale back and said, "You're not quite standing on the mark, son."
Which was fortunate.
Because Barnes has a problem. He doesn't get back off the man on the mark and often kicks into him. Mensch from half back, kicks wide, Tanner. He leaves it for Hall. It's been pretty lively. Tape's been a terrific player for the Tigers this year. Hall's kicked 2 behinds. So he just kicks a high one. Brownless territory. Punched away by Charles. Billy Brownless at ground level. Twisting and turning. Caught. And bustling Billy Brownless gives the ball back to Charles.
Charles runs along literally the boundary line, certainly parallel to it. Still he goes, the big fellow. Kickers towards Daffy. He might have edged out an opponent.
Yep.
Well, gee, that's tough, but
A bit too severe, Pete. A bit early.
Technically correct. Mansfield to take the free kick, and Richmond supporters loud in their disapproval. So Michael Mansfield, centering kick. Ball's there in front of the pack again. Brownless this time. Got the run. Spread eagles the pack. Charles and Turner couldn't stop him.
It's a good catch, you know, because he looked as if he was going to get out of this contest. The ball pretty high, but he gets himself through to the front. Good strong hands.
And distance shouldn't be a problem for bustling Billy.
He's looked very sharp in his second term. He certainly didn't look sharp in the first quarter.
420 career goals he's got now. So he needs only another 9 to equal Lindsay White, and that would place him third behind Wade and Ablett on the all-time goal-kicking list down here at Kardinia Park.
Kilpatrick on, Lord off.
For his third this afternoon, perhaps more importantly for Geelong today. 45 metres out, loves these, loves that one, that's his third. Again, less than a kick in it.
Yes, that's his importance, isn't it? Taking those good grabs up forward, the ball coming forward from Mansfield. He got a free kick, it was against Daffy for a pretty obvious push, really. Ball too far away, right in the back, and that's a good catch. Brendan Gale's been taken off, and Harrison's come on and gone to centre half forward, picked up by Barry Stoner.
Brendan Gale, just the 1 kick, 1 mark, and 3 handballs. So Stoneham, since he's been moved to centre back, has done the job. Charles down to Daffy, kicks it into Hocking. Tawney caught, fresh air shot, and Colbert takes the free kick. 15 possessions of Colbert. He's been one of Geelong's best. Bit of byplay between Merenda and Colbert. It was a bit slow to react then because he had Simpson out wide. Now Mansfield screaming for it, and at last he spotted him. Now Billy Brownless wants it high. He's really starting to mark everything on the 4 line. Billy Brownless at the front of the pack. Put his hands on the Sharon, couldn't hang on to it at ground level. Pickering gets the ball back to Hocking. Quick snap. Right on the goal line, it's been touched.
Yes, well, Hall had to go for that. He wasn't sure where it was going to land a bit short, so he had to make the contest. Unfortunately in doing so.
2 points the difference, 2 minutes to go in the half. Scotty Turner will kick in. Kept Brownless kickless in the first quarter. Billy has kicked 3 in the second. Difference is 2 points in favour of the visitors, looking for one of their rare wins down here at the park. Prescott on to Kellaway. And the mark taken. Richardson gives it off to Prescott again, who was pretty good last week. Simpson. You can have a pick the Richard thing up onto Scholl. And then almost a bump ball to Marty McKinnon. He's quick. He needed to be then. Kicks to Brownless again. A mark. No, didn't hold it long enough, says the umpire. Shuffled out the back. Breuer. You're caught, son. Turner's got him and about 3 others as well. And the umpire will ball it up just inside the boundary line. Probably just inside 50 as the clock ticks down to a minute and a half before half time. To the Cats left half forward flank. Tawney has the job on Hocking at the bounce. Over the top, Barnes. Free kick. Which way is that going? Over Charles. Kevin Shayne spoke out about confusing rules during the week. I'm sure he'd look at that one with interest. The Cats have the numbers. McGrath goes in short, and that's effective. Comes back to Kilpatrick from Tanner. Brownless has to beat 2, can't do so. Burns crushes one tackle, goes in a goal and has missed. Oh dear. Ronnie.
Perfect example of how to read the ball off the back, do everything right, and then just a bit too casually, perhaps trying to drop it onto his right boot.
1 point the difference, 1 minute to go.
That's woken the crowd up.
Well, yes, he just tried to kick it. He fended off the opponent. He just wasn't quite balanced, Roscoe.
He'd almost marked it down, hadn't he, before he kicked it.
Turner kicks out. He's looking for Callaway. So let off for the Tigers. They lead by a point. Cross to Prescott, former captain of the under-19s. Richardson does well. Punched it on. Merenda, been a good player. Embodied out by Simpson. Kilpatrick on the ground also for the Cats. He's got a chance. That's number 13. One of McGarry medal in 94. The former bomber to Hall. Is this the last chance for the Cats before the siren? Turner playing in front, did it well. Slaps the ball towards the boundary line.
Billy just asking the umpire that, did he not see Turner grab me around the neck?
And the answer is no.
Thank you, Kev.
Barnes. Now a free kick's been paid and it's going to Barnes.
1 each.
So there's just 9 seconds to go in this second quarter.
Barnes doesn't know that, so he's going to have to kick this because the siren's going to go before he gets boot the ball.
So the siren has sounded. He should get the distance. He's got the breeze behind him. It's left to right. He's bringing it back. It's a fantastic kick by Barnes.
Cats hit the lead at half-time. What a fantastic goal.
Well, he actually defied the wind that time, Roscoe. The breeze is going from his back across to the right-hand forward pocket. He started it right and it came back.
Interesting is Riccardi was telling him, giving him some advice which way the breeze is going, because Barnsley hasn't been on the ground very much, but that's the most important kick and a very vital one for Geelong. Pushes them forward, Pete.
Well, one of the most important kicks of the half. That'll be a real morale booster for Geelong. Like a lovely drawn one iron, wasn't it? Beautiful kick by Barnsley. He liked it. The Cat supporters did too, and it gives Geelong a lead of 5 points at half-time. Geelong leading 7-8-50, Richmond 6-9-45. Set for the third quarter here at Kardinia Park. Geelong with that great goal by Barnsley just on half-time, leading by 5 points. The Cats 7-8 and Richmond 6-9, but it's the Tigers with the breeze as we begin the third term. Barnes in the ruck after kicking that great goal. Daffy, almost legged, taps it out or gets it out past Campbell. Opportunity for Charles. Thought about giving it to Rogers. Kicks it across his body to the edge of the square. Richardson with that knee very heavily strapped now. Just before the quarter got underway, he did look indeed rather proppy on it. But the good news is that he's out there. Kicked 4 goals today, 4 goals too. Matthew Richardson. And the leading goal kicker in the match. Gale and Barnes. Off the ground, Bond. Boundary line might be too close, and in fact it is. Bond gets a helping hand. So throw in 60 metres from the Richmond goal. Useful stats, 2 quarters of football, 11 kicks to Chris Bond. Gale at the back tried to find Merenda. Kilpatrick pressuring him. Riccardi goes out of the contest. Merenda tackled well by Kilpatrick. Whistle on play. Umpire Brian Shayne has found the free kick. It's going Richmond's way, and the recipient is going to be Mark Merenda.
Yeah, Kilpatrick just tackled him when he didn't have the footy and threw him to the ground.
Now play on call. Kicks to the front. Tried to find Jurica too high. Daffy goes at goal. But the whistle had gone. The umpire had stopped play, and Jurica will go back to take the kick. Nearly forced the Geelong full-back from the ground in the end. Graham, after he outpointed him in the first quarter, kicked 2 goals. He's kicked 2 goals too, Stephen Jurica. Didn't see much of him in the second when Mensch was moved onto him. But he'll be looking at a third here with the breeze at his back. It's basically a westerly. A goal here would regain the lead for Richmond by 1 point. Just the 2 goal kickers to Richmond today. Matthew Richardson 4-2 and Stephen Jurica 2-2. He's taken a pretty long run up. Kicks from 45. And in the end, to no avail, 1 behind, and the difference now 4 points.
Yes, and on that kick there, if he could just get a bit more fluency in his kick, push his instep forward and have it more taut and not push the ball up in the air like that, he'd get a better trajectory.
Tigers have had only the 2 goal kickers, 4 goals to Richardson and 2 to Jurica. And Stoneham goes up. Kickless in the first quarter, lifted his game in the second to McGrath. Bond's appealing for the ball for a deliberate out of bounds. This Bond on screen. Had a good duel with Gary Hocking. 17 possessions to Hocking. Hocking 14 to Bond. Naish with quick hands to Campbell. Kicks the ball back over his head. Stoneham in front. Kilpatrick gets it across the shoal. He's been outstanding in the back pocket. It's a wonderful kick. Finds Tanner. Mansfield makes space, so does McKinnon. Gaspar for the Tigers does well, keeps the ball in. So they're playing advantage, taken by Daffy. Jurica comes out, he's right on 50 and had a fresh air shot.
An interesting effort. You see that again, perhaps?
I don't think his left-sided skills are too good, Roscoe.
No, I was going to suggest that.
In fact, I think it might be the first time he's ever attempted a left-foot kick. In fact, he attempted to.
That was different as Hall comes off and Lord come back on.
Barnes. It's taken by Naish. The kick was smothered. Pickering with good quick hands. Gets it back here to Tanner. Geelong working hard in defence down towards Colbert. Couldn't take it on the second grab. Riccardi appeals for the free and he's got it. Rogers has done a good job on Peter Riccardi.
It's 4 and 2.
Goes short, very short to Hocking. They've turned the ball over a bit today, the Cats. Campbell feeds it off to Bond. Just didn't hit its target. Kilpatrick back to Pickering. Kicks wide. McKinnon drops it. Couldn't find Riccardi. He's been held again. Play on this time, says the umpire. And umpire Shayne says we'll have a penalty throw-in.
That handball from McKinnon just too sharp for Riccardi. Only be just a soft handball. She's going past quickly.
So the throw-in on the outer side in front of the Richmond supporters out there. Charles wins it down. And a free kick going Geelong's way. It'll be taken by Pickering, will it?
Yep, holding on, Pete.
Ian Pickering, centre wing. Centres the kick, looking for Barnes. Daffy chips in. Oh, he gave it to Campbell. Long kick by Wayne Campbell. Down towards half forward, McGrath and Scholl. Scholl, we've mentioned, has done a great job in defence today. Beats him out of bounds and we'll see a throw in. Those kicks are pretty good, 7 and 5. So top game of footy, we expected nothing less. Geelong leading by 4 points, 50-46. Barnes, who kicked that great goal just on the half-time siren, loses out to Gale. Speaking of Gale, the hand pass back to Daffy. Snap off target, might be a behind. The umpire indicates that in fact it is, and so that makes the difference 3 points. Shaw again to bring it in. 7-8 to 6-11. 16 minutes left in the third term. So 4 minutes in the third quarter gone without a major on the board to either side. Barnes got a nice old nudge out, but Gale's come down with the footy. He backs into Hocking. Over he goes. Won't worry him. He's got the football. Only for his second kick. Naish makes a lead. He's ignored that. Maybe too far out to score, but he has got the breeze behind him. That's a mammoth kick. McGrath takes the mark, but over the line, and so another point. This time kicked by Brendan Gale, his second for the day. The difference is 2 points now at Kardinia Park, 50 to 48.
Scholl, the designated kicker for the Cats, favours the members' side. Simpson was there, but Jurica over the top. He's kicked 2, gives it off to Merenda. It's a poor kick, and Tanner takes the easy relieving mark. Plays on quickly, some rebound out of defence by the Cats to Scholl. He's quick to respond, back to Tanner. Great smother by Charles. Can he set it up for the Tigers? He can't. Mansfield now on the rebound. The kick's a poor one. Luck's a fortune, favours Hocking. Back to Kilpatrick. Quick hands to Riccardi, caught by Rogers. Merenda does well. Through the centre square. A Torp deep into the forward line. Richardson this time couldn't be taken by McGrath. Gale toe pokes it to Naish. 25 out. Should kick a goal. He has.
Good happening too between Brendan Gale and Stoner, but good play in the midfield there by Merenda to get the ball clear. Just snared that, got onto a torpedo. And then, as Kev said, the toe poke was good play.
Almost a melee there.
Here we go, the torpedo, backing back to McGrath, couldn't quite hang on to it, falling down, lost control. And then Gale did the right thing.
Naish's first goal for the afternoon.
Yep.
So only the third goal kicker for Richmond. Richmond hit the lead after that goal by Chris Naish. McGrath dropping the mark. The mistake that proved costly. Barnes over the top, wins it for the Cats. Riccardi tried to burst through. Gaspar retarded. Breuer wins it out of the centre. Shocking kick off the side of the boot. Put Daffy under pressure. His opposite number 10, Tanner, chipped in for the mark. Tanner, beautiful delivery to Hocking. Started the first half of the Cats. On to Pickering, no one on the mark. He goes at goal for the quickest of replies, but he's hit the post. Should have done better. First score to him today. Liam Pickering, one behind. And the scoreboard showing 7-9 to 7-12. Richmond leading by 3 points. And the kick in this time to be taken by Michael Gale for Richmond. Gale's kick, Barnes punches from behind. Too high on Kellaway. Umpire Brian Sheehan's found that. The advantage is paid. Broderick, who was benched late in the second half, or late in the first half. Rogers' kick up towards full forward. Punch away by Mensch. Richardson, let's see how he moves on that quick knee, or knees. He's kicked 4 already. He won't add to his total with that kick. That's out of bounds on the full. And the free kick will be taken down there in the back pocket by the back pocket player in Scholl.
Richmond by 3 points. Scholl goes short and finds Hocking. Now gives the ball back. So a bit of indecision by the Cats defence. The Tigers might make them pay here. Hocking on the ground. The ball underneath him. We've got a ball up. You can't always be the playmaker, Roscoe.
No, you can't. And Hocking, to use desperate there too.
I think Scholl sometimes, in trying to set it up, there are occasions when you can't set it up. You've got to kick the ball out of defence. Barnes gives it back to Scholl. This time to Pickering. Favours the members' side, looking for Mensch. It's a wonderfully weighted kick, and Mensch out in front of space. McKinnon onto the ball. Gaspar got his hand to it and forces it over. So Gaspar, the number 2 for the Tigers. High-price recruit from the Sydney Swans. Former number 1 national draft pick Kilpatrick. Former Bomber. Having a second crack at league football with the Cats. The free kick will go to Hocking. So pushing it back to Gary Hocking. The stats are starting to really mount up. And a 50-metre penalty.
Well, he sucked him in at why you shouldn't pay those. I mean, that's just silly. That's how harsh the penalty can be for an infringement like that.
Well, umpire Bill Della in Sports Weekly this week suggested that maybe a hot spot should be in the ground so that they can take a penalty kick from. So it takes some skill once, particularly that one you go from 50 right onto the goal line. So Barnes is marked. He'll be kicking from 50. He kicked a great goal after the siren at half-time, and he's indicating, I want to kick it long.
Similar distance, Kev.
Yes, maybe into the breeze. We believe that it's a little bit easier at the other end. Barnes has kicked on its way. It's a magnificent kick by Barnesy. He's kicked two.
I'll tell you what, Kev, his contribution in that area has been very spot on. As you mentioned, the previous goal was a beauty and very timely. That's a great kick. Particularly in such a low-scoring game, the goal's been hard to come by. Look at that. It's a lot on.
So he's kicked the last two goals for Geelong at each end of the ground. Similar kicks, and that one regaining the lead again for Geelong. So 2 goals to John Barnes. The Cats again in front, this time by 3 points in a thriller. Barnes up at the centre. Hockey went without the ball. Burns, quick hand pass. Kicked by Pickering, comes down to half forward. Marking contest there. Breuer, tackled by Brownless, might have been illegal. And umpire Shayne has indicated thus. Scotty Turner with the free kick. Out to Paul Broderick. Broderick from left half-back. Low trajectory drop punt into space at half-forward. Bounces wrongly from McGrath. Tanner gives it away. Mansfield. Pick up towards Riccardi. Finally getting some space around Campbell. Long bomb down towards Free. And Free takes the mark in front of Hockey. Tony Free onto Campbell. Right on the boundary line at right half-back. Capacity crowd at Kardinia Park. Enjoying the footy. They shut the gates here. Charles to Bond. Bond across half-back. Tigers trying to run it out of defence. Kellaway needs to get the ball to sit nicely. Ultimately gains possession. Tried to do a little bit too much. Geelong supporters calling for holding the ball. Breuer. Now Stoneham. Effective hand pass. Simpson. That's a throw. Mirangunarum would have been happy with that. Kilpatrick. Down towards Colbert. Oh, Turner cleaned him up. Might be downfield. Brownless has got it. And that's where it's going to be too. Billy will take the free kick.
Wonderful play by Stoneham on the boundary line here.
Yep, agreed.
Stoneham, you sort of get the impression, Kev, just coming back to a little bit of form, don't you?
Well, he never played a game last year, and of course the previous year he broke his leg and missed a lot of football. So really, he's played so little football in the last 2 years.
Almost a recruit. Brownless has kicked 3, all in the second quarter. Needs to come around. It does, but not far enough. And so he registers a behind, and that makes the difference now 4 points here at Kardinia Park. Richmond 7-12, the Cats 8-10, 58 plays 54.
Campbell for the Tigers. So a good duel with Pickering today. Finds Callaway. Played for Victoria last year. Tough and durable. Finds Charles. Done some nice things in his third term. He's taken on the big men of the Cats all day. First King, now Barnes. Stoneham, cross half-back, heads for the safety of the boundary line. And Benny Gale there, suggesting that maybe it was deliberate. Gale versus Barnes. Some strong tackling in the clinches there as we see Stoneham goes to the ground. And a bear hug from Gale. Popped a heavy knock in the back in the second term, left the ground for a short period of time. Harry Stoneham was moved into defence early in the first term as Barnes. This time beaten once more. Campbell, quick kick out of the pack. Naish, Shoal's been outstanding. Kicks the ball and sets it up to Colbert on the wing. This could hurt the Tigers. Colbert takes his options to McKinnon. Left footer. He had the ball trapped on his right side. Stacks on the mill, we've got a ball up. Wasted opportunity as Bond comes off for the Tigers and Tawney comes on.
Well, terrific play there in the back pocket by Scholl, wasn't it? It could have been so much better had McKinnon been able to capitalise it right half forward. That's history now. Kilpatrick shovels it out the front. Breuer to Hoare. A little give right on the boundary line. Was he out? Boundary umpire says no. The Geelong umpire says the ball is out now on the full. It'll be a Richmond free kick in the left back pocket.
Barry Stoner's coming off. He actually called the medicos over to him on the other side of the ground, so there might be something wrong there that I can't physically see. He wasn't limping or anything, but problem there. Graham on. He's gone to centre half back.
And as I said, Stoner was just coming back into some form in this game. Started slowly, but was getting into the play. Let's hope it's nothing serious. No mark taken there again. Pretty heavy in the clinches. Charles applies an effective tackle. Tepper's becoming just a little bit frayed. Still less than a kick in it. 58 to 54 in favour of Geelong. Ryan Sheehan puts it down. Barnes up high. Campbell tackled well by Pickering, holding the ball, says the crowd. Not so, says the man in white. Here's Barry Stoneham. He's going to have a couple of words with Gary Ayres, it would appear. Let's hope he's okay. Barnes backhands it. Kilpatrick. Colbert can't gather it in. Geelong making some valuable yardage, meterage.
Michael Gale coming off and Bond to go back on. Just the one kick and 3 handballs for Gale.
So boundary throw in. Charles in front. Breuer does the ruck work for Geelong. Richmond with the numbers. Campbell did well. Broderick can't mark it. Burns. Oh, beautifully read by Ronnie Burns. Saw Callaway coming. He bounced the ball.
Yeah. It was a good rule back in 1967.
Worked for you, Kev, didn't it?
You had the rules changed, Kev. Like Walter Lindgren. Turner. And Turner on the burst clears.
And kicks long to space, running with the flow. The ball is Breuer. He's got pace. Traps it well. Centre wing. Borks ducks back. Gives it across the tape. The old 1-2. Back to Breuer. Kicks to centre half forward. Richardson's on one leg. He's kicked 4. He's hobbling. Caught. In fact, too high, says the umpire. Merenda will take the free kick.
He was taken high initially.
Jurica is also limping after that aerial clash. Looks to be a bit okay now. So Mark Merenda. 12 possessions, had a pretty good game.
He's spectacular, isn't he, Merenda?
He's been a big improver this year. There was some talk he might have been thinking of leaving the club, but he's been a good player. Kicks a poor one. And Mensch will take this kick.
And Broderick coming off again. Prescott to come back on. It's the second time he's come off Broderick. 6 and 6 for that player.
David Mensch plays at both ends of the ground. Merenda pushing the back. He's got it.
Yep.
So Geelong lead 8-10-58, Richmond 7-12-54. Matthew Richardson with 4 goals. The leading goal kicker on the ground, Billy Brownless, has got 3, all in the second term. Merenda kicks a long bomb. Richardson from behind, got the fly, just couldn't hang on to the Sharon, and Scholl just runs it across the line.
Just looking at Richardson through the glasses, he landed rather awkwardly, but he seems to be okay. So throw in, close to the Richmond goal. Gale with Barnes. Ball kicked off the ground. McGrath. Off straight to Naish. Snap by Tape. The duck is there. Daffy, he's not going to get the kick though.
Free kick for over the shoulder, Pete. Umpire Dennis Rich is paying.
Breuer is the recipient for that offence. Over the head of Burns, but it bounces beautifully for him. They love him here at Kardinia Park. 1 bounce, make it 2. He'll have a 3rd. Borks nicely. Will he kick it? No, he's gone for the hand pass to McKinnon or Hall. It was a bad one, and it will let Gasper in and taken away now by Bauer. So a costly turnover. A kick would have been landing just about in the goal square. Pickering hit him in the head. Tanner goes in. Campbell still on the right foot. Scholl, safe mark in front of Naish. He's done a magnificent job down there, Scholl. Scholl from left half back. Trying to bring it more up the middle of the field. To Richmond. Tate gets cannoned into by a teammate. Kilpatrick. Merenda. Rogers. Lovely hand pass. Rogers time to steady just outside 50 with the breeze behind him. Geelong with the numbers. Minch gathers the bouncing ball in nicely. Still he goes, Minch from right half back. The kicker's up towards centre wing. Pinpoint accuracy needed. That's what he's got. King back onto the ground, takes them up.
And this youngster's made a great debut. Still 17. He's had 9 kicks, 6 marks and 5 handballs to King. Riccardi goes short to Kilpatrick and he cops one. Well, young Ronnie Burns is an exciting talent, just hasn't learnt yet when to kick or handball. Just gets himself into two minds. Barnes kicked 2 very important goals. Just silly hand pass, put his teammate under all sorts of pressure. They've done it several times today, the Cats, just not hitting their targets. Daffy, good hand pass from Breuer, he's off. He's got a chance to go to Campbell, elects to go down here to Harrison. Goes short to Campbell, has come all the way down from the wing, runs inside 50. Great goal, Campbell. Fantastic play by the Tigers, poor play by the Cats.
Yes, I agree with you, Kevin. He's lifted his rating too, Wayne Campbell's been a pretty good job with Pickering, but I suggested before that Pickering is probably on top with 15 and 4. Campbell now 13 and 3. That's such an important goal too. Young Ronnie Burns hurt his hand on that out of the flank when he went to tap the ball forward to his advantage, and Richmond player kicked the ball and took his hand at the same time, unintentionally.
Centre square infringement. Free kick is going to Geelong.
Across the shoulder.
Oh, Colbert gets cannoned into by Campbell. Was it deliberate? And he's down.
It's the second time he copped one. Charles got him early in his quarter and a centre bounce set up.
If it was deliberate, you'd have to say 50 metres would be asked for. Well, he didn't.
No, he's trying to see. Yeah.
So it was accidental. The Cats trailed by 2 points. The free kick from the centre square infringement down towards Brownless. He's caught out of position. Tawney. Now it's Hocking's chance. Kettleway goes along the ground. That was virtually his only option, and he took it well. It's out of bounds, 50 metres from goal. So we could be in for a crackerjack last quarter. The third quarter has just over 3 minutes to run, and Richmond looking for its first win here since 1990, leading by 2 points. They lost sight of it. Campbell again, a little give. Gasper over the top. Prescott back onto the ground. Pickering, you're caught. King unloads with a bomb, but it's out of bounds. About 15 rows back. And the football comes back for a free kick to be taken by Richmond in the right back pocket, and it's going to be taken by Tony Free. Almost in the crowd of Richmond supporters down there. Free with the free, kicks to half back.
And for Tiger supporters, great to see Free back. His first game in 12 months. Bond paddles the ball along, and he's got the free. Leon says the umpire put him under all sorts of pressure. So the Cats now with a chance. Riccardi, he's got it. Strong mark by Riccardi. He's battled today for his touches. You see there's 7 marks and 2 handballs. Rogers has been a terrific minder. It's been strange how much Geelong has fiddled with the ball around centre half forward when Brownless was marking so well in that second term. Brownless again up high, couldn't take it. It's a loose ball. Breuer paddles it over the line.
Well, Kev, that was pretty harsh on Bond on the other side there. I mean, he took a while to realise it was his free kick, and just because he kept moving, the umpire said play on. Goodness me, you've got to give him the benefit, let him go back and have his kick.
Tigers lead by 2 points. Under 3 minutes to go in the second term. The ball is forced through for a behind. So there's a point in the ball game. Scotty Turner, with that left knee heavily bandaged, missed the opening game through knee surgery, kicks the ball out wide. taken by Prescott. Kicks the ball up towards the wing. Bad bounce that time for Pickering, taken by Campbell. Floats the ball in. Harrison couldn't take it on the half volley. Shoal mops up, been terrific today. Barnes rockets a hand pass to Pickering. He's got a runner there in Tanner. But once more, another Geelong hand pass doesn't hit its target.
And he tried to soccer the ball off the ground, Kev. Tanner's put it out of bounds on the full.
Merenda to take the free kick as the clock ticks down to three-quarter time. Richmond certainly showing a bit. We've got under 2 minutes left. Gale reads it better, should have marked it. Was in the box seat to do just that. Now it's Hocking with the hand pass. Can they set something up here? The Cats. Pickering. He's been pretty good. Burns nearly the one-handed mark. Bowers making sure he's not going anywhere. And it will be a ball up inside the centre square. A minute and a half left before three-quarter time. Umpires have done a pretty good job today. It's been a close checking game. Won by Barnes. Tawney was there. Merenda dragged off the footy. Didn't seem to have it. Hocking copped one. Now Burns. He gets clear of Callaway. Kicks up towards Brownless. Who's being held? Billy, says the umpire. And it's Billy Brownless's free kick. Well, was there anything in that?
Well, it's difficult to say, Pete, because I thought the umpire in that situation, Brian Chin, was just slightly positioned out of it there. Now, who's holding who? It's play on, goodness me.
Oh, gee, who'd be an umpire? Brownless has kicked 3-1. He's 15 metres out and he's got the goal. That's an important kick for the Cats.
Well, I couldn't see any visible holding, Pete, so if it's just two players trying to hold their ground, make position.
That's what I thought they were doing, Ross.
Not allowed to go now. It's difficult to say, and I think Shayne was just a little out of position here to see the front-on shot. There's two there. Watch there. I mean, you can't see anything from that shot at all.
So Billy Brownless with 4 goals. Did not have a possession in the first term. Kicked 3 goals in the second quarter. And that important one in this third term. Controversial free kick. Prescott out of the centre square for the Tigers. Graham, who's had an ordinary day, on and off the interchange bench. Gets it across to Tanner. Colbert, this time. Terrific relieving mark by Callaway. So Duncan Callaway kicks the ball back. It's a one-on-one contest. Tate was there. Harrison started on the interchange. Does well to put it out in front of Tate. Traps it. Feeds it off the Bond inside 50. He's going to have a ping from an almost impossible angle. And puts it through for a point.
Yes, and Matthew Richardson rightly saying to him, why don't you put it at the top of the square? That's where I was going to. Maybe Bond didn't see him, but the discipline should be on the team rules. Come to the top of the square in that tight situation coming around the boundary.
Well, it should be three-quarter time as soon as Scholl kicks it in. And in fact it is. So the scene is set for what should be a titanic struggle in the last quarter. It has been little more than a kick between these sides all day. And at three-quarter time, it's Geelong with a lead of 4 points. They led at half-time 7-8 to 6-9 when Barnes got a goal on the siren. And at the last change, it's 9-11-65 to the Tigers 8-13-61. Well, controversial decision. They'll be talking about that one for a while to Billy Brownless. But, well,
it's such a tight game, but it's a critical decision. I know the umpire is there for that reason, but from where we are, and I know we are a bit away from it, but the camera angle certainly didn't help us at all. So it must have been something fairly minor, and it's such an important free kick.
Okay, so that's it at three-quarter time. Brownless has 4 for the Cats and Barnes 2. Matthew Richardson 4 and Stephen Jurica has 2 goals for Richmond. We'll take a break. Back with the last quarter in just a moment. 3 thrillers on the AFL program this afternoon, and this one's certainly up with the best of them. 4 points the difference in the Cats' favour as we begin the final quarter. Geelong with the breeze. Breuer almost caught. The hand pass over the top of the pack, effective. Tackled by Prescott. Brownless to half forward. Will give away a free kick for a high tackle. Harrison. Now it's Daffy. Takes the free kick. Kicks to centre wing. Merenda, who's been good for the Tigers. Merenda's kick up towards half forward. Good use of the body down there by Tape, and he has taken the mark. Jamie Tape, 3 kicks, 4 hand passes. His stats today.
Well, Barnes has kicked from the same spot. People went pretty straight.
It did. Just curled a little bit to the left. He got the distance. His also curls to the left. Off the hands of the pack. The rush behind. So the difference 3 points. 65 to 62 at Kardinia Park. That might have to come back because the goal umpire hadn't finished waving the flags. Graham will kick in. Stoneham on the sidelines appears to have a bandage on one of his thighs.
And Tony Freese has come off too, Pete, just a little bit proppy, and Michael Gale back on.
Hall takes the hand pass from Hocking, the latter Geelong's best player today. Bounce needs to be kind, and it is for Mansfield from right half forward. Mansfield spears it up towards full forward. The mark not taken down there. The Tigers through Gale. It was now out to Broderick. It's been taken off a couple of times today. Back to Bauer, and he'll give it to Rogers at midfield or centre wing.
So Rogers, who has had a good job today on Riccardi, pumps the ball back towards centre half forward where Tanner takes the mark. It's an interesting move moving Brownless to centre half forward. He's kicked 4 goals at full forward. Young King has gone to full forward in his last term. And we see Barnes has marked inside the centre square. So Barnes slowing things down. He's kicked 2 great goals. Kicks the ball back towards Billy Brownless. Ground level. Michael Gale's just replaced Tony Free on the field, goes wide looking for Daffy, and he marks just inside the line. So Daffy has Broderick in space. Kicks a wobbly old kick inside 50. Scholl's been good. It's had Naish taken from the ground. Tape's been moved up forward from back. Hall. It's the kick around the body, but it's Gale. Just a few possessions today for Gale. And there's a terrific mark by Mansfield.
He can stand his ground well there, and he did. Into space at centre wing on the member stand side. King, who's been pretty good today in his debut. Mensch shovels it out for Pickering. Off one step, long kick down towards the 50-metre line. Bauer takes the good mark in defence for the Tigers. His kick is back towards the centre wing position, and that could almost be 50. Campbell takes the mark. Pickering came at him. Right next to the interchange gates is Campbell. Gale the target. Couldn't take the mark. Strong grab has been taken by Mansfield. And Brian Sheehan whistles Daffy back. This is Scholl over the head of Merenda. Finds Breuer. He hasn't done too much today. Couple of bounces. McKinnon, who's got speed, has likewise been a little quiet. Riccardi could make them pay here. Steadies onto the left foot. He kicks and he goals. So finally Peter Riccardi scores a goal, and that is a very handy one for Geelong. The Cats leading 10-11-71 to 8-14-62.
Yes, well, Rogers has done a very good job on Riccardi, and that goal a bit sooner than the one he kicked last week against West Coast when Geelong needed one, just to steady the ship. He did that. A more difficult one than that kick there. That's where he's so dangerous.
And the Cats now have moved Billy Brownless back to full forward. King's gone to centre half forward. Charles versus Barnes. Barnes gets his hands to the ball. Sharked here by Campbell. And the Tigers get a quick reply. Inside 50. Hall. Started up forward, now has gone back, finds Barnes. He'll draw an opponent, Merenda. Gives it across to Simpson. Came into the side when Couch couldn't take his place. Up towards Billy Brownless. Was he caught high? No, says the umpire. Riccardi held.
Momentarily. And then in fact he pulled Rogers to the ground.
So you can see the disgust on the face there of Rogers, who's held Riccardi to just those 9 kicks and 2 handballs, and that last goal by the Cats. He's done a great job all day. It'll be disappointing if his opponent kicks 2 goals on him in a couple of minutes. Riccardi, a long bomb. It's a great goal to Peter Riccardi.
Riccardi second, and the Cats enjoy the biggest lead they've had today. 15 points. It's 11-11 to 8-14.
Yes, and I think it's fair to say that the decisions in front of goal or goal kicking opportunities have certainly favoured Geelong today. At least 3 goals coming from free kicks inside 50.
The most controversial one was the one to Brownless in the last quarter.
And I thought that one was a bit iffy too. As Brendan Gale is off again and Harrison's back over the centre half forward. They can't get that spot right today.
The difference 15 points in Geelong's favour. Barnes against Charles. Riccardi nearly took the hand pass. It was a little bit too severe for him. Broderick over the top to Michael Gale from left half forward. Looks for tape. Ball in front. Good mark. Onto Minch. Boundary line is close. Shaw. Boundary umpire gives him the okay. King, the youngster, who's done so well. Back to Shaw. Brownless. Turner. Turner in game number 101. Looks for a holding the ball decision. There is none according to the umpire, and it will be a bounce. 35 metres out from the Geelong goal. King over the top. Gasper. Hand passes to Prescott. Courage needed here. Bond. Tigers must get the next goal. Bond trying to fight Tawney. Boundary umpire says it's out of bounds, it's my ball. 14 minutes left in the match. We'll see a throw in between wing and half forward on the outer side.
Billy Brownless has booted 4 goals for the Cats. Matthew Richardson 4 for the Tigers. Big King number 1, just 17 years of age, playing his first game of league football. He's had 17 possessions, he's taken 6 marks. It's been a great debut. Pickering. Barnes to Breuer. The Cats now starting to run the ball confidently. A long bomb. McKinnon's there. So's Brownless, punched away this time by Turner. Ground level. Gaspard feeds it out towards Rogers. Was he caught high? He was. So Rogers on the defensive 50. It's wide to Harrison. 2 games with the Blues. Starting a game down at Tigerland. It's a wobbly old kick. Charles was down there. Daffy did well. Lost his footing. Pickering, quick kick back towards the centre of the ground. Callaway and McKinnon. A duel. Riccardi handballs over his head. Taken by Callaway. The Tigers come forward. Tape. Couldn't take it. Tawney. Kick's been smothered. Richardson's been fantastic today. Bond is held. No play on, says the umpire. Tape's been held. Take a free kick this time, Tigers. So Tape's been moved forward. Try and give the Tigers a lift.
Stoner's back on 2. The centre half forward.
With the left thigh heavily strapped. They lost Couch before the game, and Richardson's been limping for most of the game.
Yes, and Campbell copped a whack on his left leg too. He's a bit proppy.
So Tape finds Broderick just outside of 50.
Been a lot off the ground a couple of times today, Broderick. Puts it back with the left foot. Good punch away by Graham. Almost clears the zone. Michael Gale, good gather. Daffy onto the left foot. A snap. They need a goal here, but they don't get anything. It's out of bounds on the full. And the free kick will be taken by Graham. Jurica got the better of him in the first quarter. He was subsequently benched for a while. And those stats indicating that he hasn't had the full 4 quarters out here on the ground. Good long kick by Graham. A little bit of a nudge. Barnes. Umpire says okay. He stood his ground. Mansfield tackled by Broderick. Ball jarred free in the tackle. Now Merenda hooks it across his body. Plenty of Geelong Guernseys there. McGrath. Long kick by the Cat centre half back towards centre wing. Riccardi came at his opponent. That will be too high. Gaspar take a free kick. Stoneham being brought back on the mark. You can see the heavy strapping on his left thigh. Punch away by Charles. Graham couldn't get boot to ball. Kick back by Richardson. Mark is taken down there by Jurica. Started the game in fine fettle. He kicked 2 quick goals in the first quarter. He's got 2-3 against his name. Some big marks against Graham. Really got the Tigers moving in the first quarter. This one against Minch. Hasn't kicked a goal against Minch, who has moved on to him quickly.
Lift his teammates if he gets it, Pete.
It certainly will. Distance shouldn't be a problem. It's not. The one on the goal umpire. It looks pretty good. He's got it. So Jurica kicks his third, 3-3, and the Tigers back in this match with plenty of time. We're not at the halfway mark of the quarter. It's 77-68.
Yes, and that'll certainly give these teammates a lift. It's amazing how a goal like that with Richardson getting the ball forward quickly. And not the most reliable kick, Jurica, but the experience will show him that with a bit more purpose, practice of training, he can be a very good full forward.
Tigers have lacked goal kickers at ground level, just the 2 kicked by small players. Naish kicked 1 in the third quarter and Campbell also. With 4 goals to Richardson and 3 to Jurica, so all of their eggs have been in that one basket of big guys down on the forward line.
Yes, Daffy has had plenty of kicks, 16 in fact, but hasn't put one through yet. And as Kev said, Naish certainly not productive in that area either.
So Barnes wins the tap, Breuer feeds the ball off to Mansfield. It's into Brownless territory, off the hands of the back of the pack. Prescott read it well. He's had 3 bounces. Pops it up in the air. It's a 1-on-1 contest. Hall does well to get to the front of the pack. He was held by Tate. Trying to get it quickly across half-back the Cats. McGrath pinpoints the pass to Shayne, who's just been in everything off the back line. Across to Mansfield. It's a hurried kick. Brownless got underneath it. Who's going to pounce on the ball? Bond out of defence. Got the job on Hocking. Kicks the space. It's a race between Breuer, Gale, also Ben Graham. Graham's got there first. Back to Shayne. He can set it up to Stoneham. You can see Stoneham's leg there, heavily strapped.
He's a bit proppy too, Kev, isn't he?
Well, we were a bit surprised he even came back on when he went off. It's 2 against 1. Brownless in front, punched away by Turner at ground level. Pickering couldn't trap it for the Cats. Gaspar with a quick hand pass. Tawney runs on. He got a good bounce on a long bomb down to 50.
Need a mark here. Jurica couldn't take it. Ball, says the crowd. Naish applies an excellent tackle. He's going to be rewarded for that. Shayne has to give the ball reluctantly up. Richardson, he's dropped what he should have taken. Let's see how he moves on that injured knee. Certainly it's heavily strapped. He's kicked it high and wide, not too handsome. Minch tries to punch it clear. The advantage is played. It's a Tigers free. Merenda goes at goal and has kicked it. What a game! Tigers back in this. Merenda kicks his first. Loud hoops from the Geelong supporters as the difference once again is only 3 points.
Yes, and Barry Stoneham's had to come off and King back on. Here's his kick coming forward by Richardson. Holding the jumper, it was against Mensch. We saw that there, the umpire in good position. That's where the kick came from. Obviously the crowd didn't see that.
Cats by 3 points. Just under 10 minutes to go in this final term. Breuer falls over that critical moment. Burns for Geelong. Just couldn't get the handball out. Big King #1 on the ground. His first game of league football. And we've got a baller. The Richmond chant is going up at Kardinia Park. The Tigers haven't won here since 1990. They've won only 1 of the past 17 clashes with the Cats. Merenda punches the ball forward. Chance for Campbell over the top. Daffy runs onto the ball, yet to kick a goal. Onto the left boot. He's kicked it. The Tigers are in front.
I'll tell you what, Wayne Campbell's been a very important player in the last 3 quarters. Quite early, and Pickering got the better of him, but his third quarter particularly, where he had about 11 possessions, very good, and a goal. And set that up, and he's got a bit of a crook left leg too. Copped a whack in this early in this quarter out on the outer side. And Daffy, well, we said before, 16 kicks and no goals. Now 17 and 1. Well played.
Only minutes back, Geelong led by 15 points. It's now Richmond leading by 3, 80-77. Charles's kick. Merenda. Simpson late on the scene. Merenda's been pretty good, 16 and 3. Campbell 16 and 7. Daffy 17 and 1. Naish slips into space to take the mark. There wasn't too much of it. Loves a goal, Chris Naish. Only kicked one today. And the goal here would really hurt Geelong. Only 3 and 3 for Chris Naish. But what an important kick this is to give Richmond a 9-point lead. And yet minutes back it was Geelong by 15. Straight as a die, a goal. Richmond by 9 points.
And they've kicked 4 in 6 minutes, Pete.
An amazing turnaround, Roscoe.
Yeah, no question. It's that sort of enthusiasm and exuberance and persistence which last year, Kev, I think typified their play. They really did not give up. And they've shown that again today. And some of the players who've been down have lifted their rating.
Well, Naish on screen is one. Well beaten by Shayne. He had a goal before it was taken from the field, but Shayne was just an outstanding player out of defence. But to come back on, kicking an important goal, just shows the quality of Naish. Colbert, quick kick out of the square. Burns at Geelong, couldn't trap it. Gaspar has been good in the last 5 minutes. Bauer's kick's been smothered. Twisting and turning is Breuer. Burns was held.
Breuer very strong in that situation. Didn't want to give up the football.
Brownless is in the goal square. Burns has kicked the goal, missed an absolute sitter. Kick down towards Riccardi. He's kicked 2 goals in this last term, Peter Riccardi. Chance here. Big King onto the left boot. Turner happy to see the ball bounce over for a boundary throw-in.
Yes, win decision too from some of the Geelong players. That kick coming from Burns, looking for King. Riccardi chipped in with one hand and upset the flight of the ball.
Tigers lead by 9 points. Barnes in the ruck. Gaspar for the Tigers. Colbert tried to take it out of the air. Galloway at the bottom of the pack as well. Harrison with space. The former Blue kicks down where Richardson taps the ball on, looking for Merenda. It was clever play. Merenda's been good today. Just can't keep the ball in play. And a boundary throw-in on the centre wing.
He has been good, Kev, hasn't he? 17 and 3. And it's his speed too that's been fantastic.
One of their best players in every game so far this year. So it's Big King in the ruck versus Charles. Charles has taken on both Barnes and King today. Prescott gets there first in front of Riccardi. Hands and knees. Does well to get the ball back to Campbell. To Rogers. He's had the job on Riccardi all day. Kicks the ball back. Scholes in front. Edged out that time by Naish, but still takes a great mark.
Great mark to Scholes, one of Geelong's best and certainly one of their most consistent this afternoon. Over the top, Gaspar. Succeeds in getting it away from Breuer and it's out of bounds. And the Tiger fans in the outer loving that. 6 minutes remaining in the match and Richmond could be in line for what would be certainly a rare win down here at Kardinia Park. They've lost their last 9 to Geelong, all by pretty big margins. Simpson, up and under kick. Daffy, almost edged out of it. Chance for Breuer. Long hand pass. Burns, 30 metres out, goes at goal. That looks pretty good. The Cats are back in it because the goal umpire says, you've kicked the goal. That's his second, and what a valuable one that was. So the Cats hit back again. Richmond leading now by just 3 points.
Yes, we've hit such a sitter in the second quarter, I think it was, up that end. And Breuer's just done a few good things in this last quarter, and Burns, well, be happy with that.
To those Phil Cracker qualities that you suggested earlier, Roscoe.
It's very similar, very similar.
So it's a 3-point ball game. Charles in the ruck against Big King, taken away by Hocking. Been sensational for the Cats. It's inside 50. Prescott showed courage. Back with the flow of the ball. Brewer's got pace. Traps it. Burns. A touch of magic. There is a bit of Phil Cracker in him. But the kick's a poor one. Smothered. Great play by Bauer. Paddles the ball long in front. Colbert got his body over the top of the ball. It's desperate now. We're down to just on 5 minutes in this last term.
That was a good smother by Bauer, Kev. It was.
Tigers by 3 points. Harrison versus King in the ruck. You can see the size difference there. Big King, over 200 centimetres. His first game, Pickering. Quick snap, Prescott drops it. So there's a ball up, some 40 metres out from the Cats' goal.
Could have been a costly drop mark, that. As it turned out, it wasn't. They were able to tie it up in the pack. And the clock still ticks down. 5 minutes and a few seconds remaining in this match. It's been a beauty. Barnes wins it. They need to get something out of this. Simpson's hand pass. Clearly to the advantage of his side. Umpire Dennis Rich has adjudicated a free kick.
Against Gasper for a very untidy and unnecessary effort. He just slung Riccardi out of the area.
And you can see the umpire only, metres away.
Yeah. And he's the play you'd at least want to have, having a shot from this situation. It's pretty accurate.
So Peter Riccardi with his 11th kick has the chance to make it the 9th lead change for the day. And we haven't had too many games like that this year. Riccardi from 45. He kicks. Has he goal? The post is wobbling, but it looks all right. Yes, it's there. The Cats back in front.
Well, and I feel sorry there for Matthew Rogers, who hung his head after Gasper gave that free kick to the player that Rogers has pretty much kept quiet, although 2 goals now in this last quarter. Let's watch this again. Ball coming forward. Simpson getting across, and here Gasper just keeps Riccardi out of the play, and he didn't have it anywhere near the football.
Peter Riccardi's with it, 3 goals in this last term. What was interesting was that Billy Brownless also collided with the goalpost to maybe wobble it to help that ball go through. It was an interesting tactic by Brownless. You'll see Broderick. Now the Tigers trail by 3 points. Pickering with quick hands to Tanner. He wants to set it up over the top to Colbert. He's got Hocking inside 50. Gary Hocking, long bomb. It's wobbling, it's at the post.
Well, the game has everything.
Well, Pickering hit the post for the Cats in the 3rd term. Hocking now in this final term. Richardson hit the post for the Tigers in the 2nd quarter. So some hard luck stories as Turner, as time ticks away, just on 4 minutes in this last term.
Well, the Tigers went down by 1 point last week to the Sydney Swans. Can they salvage something this afternoon? Simpson, Leighton Clouston to side, flips it up. Hocking after Tanner lost sight of it. Back to Riccardi. Bomb can't catch him. Long bomb up to it was Barnes. Brownless also there. Burns tried to go off the ground. Brownless tackle in the back. Richmond free kick.
It had to be.
Prescott.
Fair jump by Barnes.
It was, wasn't it? Great lead. Pass out wide, effective. Harrison sort of left centre wing. Richardson in front, couldn't take the mark. Tawney out body. McGrath, you'll need to be quick. Pickering from left centre wing across Harrison. Down to half forward. Barnes, good use of the body. Edge Gasper out. Hand pass long over the top. Brownless, who will he look for? Gives it to Breuer. 20 metres out. Breuer goes at goal, and he too has hit the post.
Let's take that post out.
Wow. 1 goal, 2 to Shayne Breuer. Well, they could have sealed it, Kev, in the last 5 minutes. 91 to 86, so that's 5 points the difference. 3 minutes left. The Tigers need a goal. Turner kicks in.
That's their 3rd posted for the match. Colbert sets himself in front, fists the ball away. So the play by Campbell. The ball goes over the line for a boundary throw-in. Just under 3 minutes to go. 91 plays 86. It's been a great game. Richmond led by 10 points at quarter time. Geelong by 5 at half time and 4 at 3/4 time. Pickering, quick snap out of that pack, drives the ball back inside 50. And Callaway takes the relieving mark. Not a long kick, it's a wobbly one off the boot. Doesn't really set it up. Bond. He's been a good player for the Tigers. Riccardi, he's kicked 3 in the last term. He's been a star. been bowled over. Campbell, desperate, great play to Rogers. Here's a chance for the Tigers. Kicks long to 50. Free kick to Naish. Surely, no. He was caught high. He's played the mark to Shayne, and they break. Simpson. He can give it off to Mensch. Mensch says, you keep running. I'll do the blocking. 2 bounces. Kicks up to Brownless in front. Couldn't take it on the second grab. Had to share and then lost it. Prescott does well against Lord, and a free kick goes to Ashley Prescott.
1 minute 49 left in the match, and Prescott will take the free kick in front of 26,000 fans. They were jam-packed in this afternoon. Tawney across his body, no one there. Shayne, one of the best on the ground with Naish now. Merenda, who's been brilliant, centering kick. Gary Hocking takes the mark in front of Broderick.
Yes, he'll slow it up.
He certainly will. Gets up just a little bit gingerly. Decides to go for the hand pass. He's a teammate in better position. That's Shayne, as I mentioned just moments back, one of the Cats' best. Chance from McGrath now to put it deep into attacking territory. He couldn't do so. The bounce was a poor one for him. Richardson, well, if he's injured, I'd like to be injured. Look at him go. Still he goes. Long hand pass. Over the top to Michael Dale. Can he kick a goal? Centering kick. They need a mark. And they've got one. Naish. No, not played. He plays on. And snaps. And it rolls through from behind. 52 seconds remaining in the match.
Well, it wasn't called by the umpire because the Geelong player had a hand on it first in front.
Well, one would suspect that Ben Graham will kick this ball as far as he possibly can.
He'll kick it from here to Warrnambool.
Now he's been told he must kick it now, and he's got to do it straight away. He taps it to himself, kicks it straight up the centre of the ground. It was a dangerous kick for mine. The back of the packet's come off. Colbert's got it, feeds it off here to Lord. The Cats go forward to Brownless. Couldn't take it on the grab. Turner, he's got 2 to beat. Burns back kicks it to Brownless. The hand pass is forward to Tate. Gave it up. Broderick. Correction, Broderick from half back. It's a fierce end to this game. The Bond. Time clock's ticking away. There's only 25 seconds left. Bond goes wide. Naish has got it. They can grab it, the Tigers.
Well, he's got to kick this goal. It'll be the last kick of the match.
You can see the time clock ticking down. We're under 10 seconds. The Tigers lost by a point last week. They can grab this one. They trail by 4 points.
Here's the siren.
Naish's kick's on its way. It's going across the face.
He's missed, I think.
He has missed.
Geelong have won it. What a thriller. What an absolute thriller. And Shayne can commiserate. One of the great games of the year. And Geelong have put Richmond right on the siren. The Tigers losing an absolute thriller for the second time in a week. Chris Bond can't believe it. Chris Naish can't believe it. Geelong supporters have had collective heart attacks right around the ground, and the final score shows the Cats maintaining their excellent record over Richmond here at Kardinia Park. 13-13-91, defeating a gallant Tiger side 12-16-88.
Some good performances today too. I think that Matthew Richardson with his 4 goals, he played that second half Roscoe with what looked to be a pretty sore set of knees, and did that marvellous passage of play in the end there that maybe even could have turned the game for the Tigers, because Naish wasn't paid what I thought was a free kick.
Yes, and Gary Hocking did some very good things throughout the course of the game. I thought Wayne Campbell lifted enormously. Daffy had a pretty good game, and even Broderick, who'd been on and off a few times, did a couple of very important things, a couple of good hips and shoulders and some pressure stuff down the back half. And very lucky Geelong, because the laconic effort to mark by Brownless up here on the half-forward feint just before the siren went in almost cost them the game.
Well, you can have so many ifs and buts in a result like that, can't you? But in the end, the Cats got the points. Someone in a game like that has to be unlucky. Certainly Richmond, you would say, was in many respects. But Geelong today emerging victorious. A packed house, 26,000 fans certainly got their money's worth, and Geelong maintaining the excellent record they have over Richmond. So repeating the final scores here at Kardinia Park, Geelong 13-13-91, defeating Richmond 12-16-88.
And there's not too much to warm the hearts of Tiger fans at the moment. They've lost the last 2 games in rather ordinary style. And we're joined now by Chris Naish from Richmond. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, Ian. How
Now,
are you?
sorry to hit you with the hard one first, but it hasn't been too good for the Tigers in the last couple of weeks. And we say that also we saw how you're in the finals there, and of course preliminary finalists last year when it's all said and done.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks have been pretty disappointing for the boys. North Melbourne played pretty good footy against us, beat us to the ball, and over in the West last week, Fremantle were just very much the same, too quick and in at the ball before which was very much a strong point of our game last year.
Now, if I can be permitted, one more question before I throw you over these men who will really do you over. Just talking on that preliminary final point, we have 2 prelim finals now. So last year you had Carlton, North Melbourne, Geelong and Richmond in them, and Carlton, Geelong, North Melbourne seem to be going along in the merry way again. Everyone expected probably Richmond to do the same. What do you think's happened in general terms?
Well, of course we've got a new coach, but we're not using that as an excuse, but it is taking a while to get used to a new fella at the top. We've also been dogged by a few injuries to key players, such as Knights, Bullis, Turner, who haven't been on the field for us much at all. So we just haven't had the replacements to cover those good players. As a result, we've dropped away.
How's your own form this year, Chris?
Very scratchy, Ron. Very scratchy.
So when we missed out on you up in Sydney, it wasn't too bad a mistake.
No.
Well, the Swans are going quite well without me, so it's probably a good decision I didn't go.
Chris, isn't it fair to say that the difference between this year and last year was just that you haven't won 2 games that were decided by less than a kick? Sydney Swans by 1 point, I think Geelong by 3 points. If you had have won those, you'd be 6 and 3 instead of being 5 and 4, I think you were. 4 and 5.
Sydney was disappointing to go down just by a kick, and then.
And this one you perhaps talked us through it here at Geelong when you took a mark at the end. Well, it just happened to come up on the screen. I'm sorry, there's 15 seconds to go.
Well, I didn't know there was 15 seconds to go, Coves.
Well, I must admit, I was in the grandstand and I thought, gee, you were the bloke that I least wanted to have the ball because you normally are such a good kick for goal.
Yeah, I thought it was online and it just sort of dropped away towards the end of the kick, and as you said, it didn't go through. So
when it left the boot, did you feel like it was going to go through?
Yeah, I was pretty confident it was online, but there was kicks earlier in the day. If I had taken a bit more note, they sort of just faded towards the left, and well, that's exactly what happened with that kick there.
Have you seen that before, or you tried to avoid it until
a
today?
few times I've watched it. Yeah.
Who was number 12 that came here and gave
Brad Scholl.
Is he a mate of yours?
No,
he's now.
Well, I give him best on ground honours for that day, so yeah, he probably thinks I'm a mate because I looked after him.
We just saw that incident just before that too, before we saw the shot for goal a bit earlier where Scholl was paid a mark from coming from behind you. Did you think you should have got a free kick? Because there was a lot of conjecture about that, including your coach saying so.
Yeah, when the incident happened, I thought, oh yeah, okay, that could have been a free kick, but it wasn't, and it was just another point in the game that didn't go our way.
Well, let's look to the future for Richmond, and here's your next 5 games. Carlton, it's all right. They're all at the MCG. Carlton, St Kilda, Adelaide, Collingwood, and the West Coast. It's a fairly tough draw.
Yeah, it's tough, but we've been sort of interstate a few games earlier in the year, and I think now we've got 3 or 4 more games after that at the MCG, so we're looking to get a few players back and have about 6 or 7 games on the MCG, our home turf, and hopefully we can get 5 or 6 wins out of that many games.
One of those players might be Turner.
Turner, yeah, he's due back hopefully for the Carlton game, and maybe Bullis, and hopefully Jurica, because we're lacking a key third forward at the moment.
I knew Jurica was big last year when he debuted, but he's even bigger now. He's the biggest, like the heaviest player in the comp, isn't he? Huge man.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure his weight. I think he's probably well over 100 kilos. But
on a positive note, Paul Broderick's form's been outstanding this year. A bit of a quiet one last week, but up until then, excellent.
And also Merenda.
Merenda's just been not a surprise packet really. He's really come on in his form this year. And last year he started a lot on the bench, and this year he's just taken the wing position by the scruff of the throat and just really had a good start to the year for us. And Broderick's just been a true leader for us this year. He's led from the front every week, and I don't know where we'd be without him this year.
What about Wayne Campbell? He's just tailed off a little bit. Do you think if he had a haircut it might help things?
Well, there's a few blokes in our team if they had a haircut we might be okay. But
look at the stats, they've had 10 kicks and 15 wipes of the hair out of the eyes.
What about Wolsey? How's he coping? I know when I played under him, he didn't accept losses to, especially teams you expected to beat.
Yeah.
How's the training been this week?
The training's been very hard this week. We've had 2 or 3 hour sessions on the track and a lot of one-on-one, and last night we had about 3 or 4 400s after training, so he's been pretty hard on us this week, and deservedly so.
Just picking up on your point, the long hair, I did see a couple of Richmond players when the ball was coming towards them in the air and they were going to be in a marking drill, sort of put their hair back.
Yeah.
Now, I think, forgetting about whether you like hair, one likes long hair or not, I mean, to me that would be a disadvantage, wouldn't it?
Well, I think
you don't have to worry.
Yeah, I think my hair's long at the moment because I hate playing with long hair because I think it does get in my eyes. And
it has been a perception though that it has been interfering with I think there's Nick Daffy, Wayne Campbell, both of whom are down a little bit on form.
Yeah.
And sometimes your appearance can reflect what's going on between the ears.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing said about their hair last year when they were in pretty good form, so I just think they're not at their top in their game, so there must be some reason, and the hair's been pointed at. That's why they're not playing good footy.
Well, at least Michael Gale's got the good sense to tie his back in a ponytail, Chris.
Worked off for Samson.
It doesn't get in his eyes. Now, look, we wanted to have a chat to you about how the Tigers had been going, because as we said, we discovered that Richmond Army's been mobilised in the last couple of years, and we just wanted to let them know what's been happening down there, what's going to happen in the future. But one other thing we wanted to do by getting you in specifically was not to embarrass you with that shot for goal, Chris, but to actually say that you've played a part this year in the tackle of the year, and there it is. From Jared Malloy of Fitzroy. Let's have a look at this again. Just talk us through it.
Well, I was actually going to handball it, but the goals were inside, so I was going to have a shot. I actually wasn't stunned so much. I was trying to fake the free kick there because I thought he got me high too, but he didn't on the video. And Woolsey called me to the bench. He said, "I thought you were going to die," so I've actually spent a quarter on the bench after that.
It was a beauty, and there you go. That just goes to show there still is some physical contact in the game, despite people saying there isn't. And would you pass on the award to Jared Malloy on our behalf for the tackle of the year that was applied to you, Chris? And hopefully for the rest of the year you avoid plenty of those, and you do kick plenty of goals for the Tigers.
Thanks very much, Cass.
And thanks for coming in, Chris Naish from Richmond.